Back here at Melbourne Ballpark as we get set for game number 2 of this International Baseball Showdown, Team Australia and the Hanwha Eagles. Michael Dixon, Ed Wyatt, the rest of our Sportscast Australia crew. Ed, you and I had been talking about this event for months, and when you hype it up like we did, you just hope it delivers. And last night shattered expectations.
Yeah, I thought it was great. We had saw some really great plays, some moments of brilliance, good pitching, good hitting. Obviously, the team's coming at it from a different perspective. Team Australia coming together as a whole. Hanwha Eagles, of course, doing their preseason, their spring training. But, yeah, it was a great night, great crowd. 2-1 win to Hanwha, but really entertaining game.
Well, make no mistake, when you schedule these games in your Team Australia, you're here to win. So no matter what we talk about, the crowd, the event, for the Aussies, it's all about the baseball on the field. And so they want to come away with a split.
Yeah, exactly right. It's far from a meaningless game, and I think you'll see a little bit different Team Australia tonight. A little more purpose, a little more desperation, which should make for a really fun game number 2.
Well, he's Ed Wyatt. I'm Michael Dixon, the rest of our Sportscast Australia crew. And, oh, by the way, the third member of our crew, Eric Balnar, standing by with more from Team Australia.
Thanks, guys. I'm down here with Daryl George. Daryl, last night, you played a lot of games in this ballpark. Can you kind of describe the atmosphere and what was going on around here last night?
It was awesome, man. Packed crowd, hometown, so it was sick, man. Great vibes.
Man, it was really cool. Like, before the game, we were standing in the dugout. You come to me and you're like, man, this is really cool, man. Like, and did the whole team kind of get that vibe last night?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of familiar faces. Like, for the first time in a long time, everyone got to have their family here. Guys that normally don't get that opportunity because we're playing overseas. It was really cool.
Yeah, so how many times have you played a game in this stadium, do you reckon, in your career? Probably, what, a couple hundred times?
A couple hundred times, yeah. Aces, locally at Werribee, Sunshine, Port Melbourne, just, yeah.
This side of town?
Yeah, this side of town out in the west, so.
And how many times have you worn, I'm not counting ABL All-Star games here, with the senior men's national team wearing this green and gold get-up here at this ballpark?
A couple times too, yeah. So it's cool. Last night was definitely the pinnacle of all those experiences. It was awesome.
And what does it mean to you to get to play in front of your hometown fans wearing the green and gold?
It's everything. Yeah, it's everything. You think about how you grew up 10 minutes from the field and getting to see a lot of the guys you grew up with come down to the game and get to see you play. And, yeah, it's just awesome, man. Just awesome.
And just before we go back to the guys, I wanted to ask you about that last at-bat at the World Baseball Classic. And I know I'm not even worried about the outcome of the at-bat. It was when you walked out there, they announced your name, all those Japanese fans got up and they were cheering for you, for Team Australia, and you were smiling the whole at-bat. Can you walk me through that at-bat and what was going through your head during that time?
I don't know, man. I just felt at peace and just felt happy from within. I couldn't bottle it up, so it just kind of came out. Yeah, it's just vindicating for all the effort that we put in away from the field to get there and get the recognition that you don't often get as an Australian baseball player. It was awesome, and just it keeps you going and is incredibly motivating. Yeah.
Any adjustments for today?
Just get a good pitch to hit, and I'll just drive it.
We like it. Daryl George, back to you guys.
Thanks so much, Eric. Pleasure to work with you last night and again here this afternoon. And for me and you, Ed, watching Daryl George with the Melbourne Aces, how cool was it to watch him in the green and gold for Team Australia here in Melbourne last night?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Crowd, of course, going crazy. Even some of the Hanwha Eagles personnel telling me they love watching Daryl play. So always entertaining, and you're right, to have him in that green and gold is extra special.
Well, Game 2 of this international showdown upcoming, the Hanwha Eagles and Team Australia. For Ed Wyatt, the rest of our Sportscast Australia crew, thrilled to be with you. We've got the anthems, the lineups, and the first pitch next. And a look above Melbourne Ballpark as we get set for Game 2 of this international showdown. The Hanwha Eagles and Team Australia. Michael Dixon, Ed Wyatt, Eric Balnar, the rest of our Sportscast Australia crew as these teams get introduced one final time on a sunny Sunday in Altona. Ed, quickly, what a moment it was for both teams last night. What a moment it was for baseball in Victoria and baseball in Australia as well.
Yeah, it was a great night, big crowd, well-played game, entertaining game. And it's great to see both teams back ready to go again. Different conditions, a little hotter, not as much wind. So let's see what that has to do in terms of the hitting and pitching.
Well, keep in mind, again, yesterday it was Team Australia, the home team. The Aussies will be the road team here in Game 2 with Hanwha, the home team, in Game number 2. We've got both anthems, and then after that, the lineups and the first pitch. This is the International Showdown right here on Baseball Plus.
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are one and free. With golden soil and wealth of toil, our home is good by the sea. Our land of mountain nature's gives all beauty rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage unfolds Australia fair. Here join both strings and let us sing across Australia
Well, the anthems are finished, and we are ready for the second game of this International Showdown with Team Australia and the Hanwha Eagles tossing balls up into the crowd and putting a cap on what has been an outstanding weekend for Australian baseball, for Korean baseball, for Victorian baseball. I mean, you can go down the list for how important these two games have been and how much fun this experience has been altogether. Well, Ed, we get set for Game 2, and yesterday for the Australians, let's talk about the actual baseball on the field. There were plenty of chances. Middle innings, later innings, stranded 11 runners on base, so they were right there, lost it 2-1. And we talked about it off the top, but you know for a fact that Game 2 means a lot to the guys wearing that green and gold, and they want to come away from this showdown with a split.
Yeah, absolutely right. And the other thing you mentioned very astutely yesterday, Michael, is the fact that the Hanwha Eagles were changing pitchers every inning because this is their spring training. So they're, the aces hitters really didn't have a chance to establish themselves against one pitcher before another one came in. So I think they'll probably do the same thing, although we did hear that the starter tonight, Felix Pena, could possibly go 2. So we'll just have to keep an eye on that. But it is a very difficult proposition.
Well, here's a look at some of the pregame festivities.
That's the Korean Consul General, I believe, throwing that out.
And there's Ace.
Ace needed his moment in the sun.
It's like a happier ending to the Randy Johnson spring training bird video where you get to see Ace run across after that first pitch. But it's been an awesome event for everybody involved. And
been great.
Oh, by the way, you get to watch a guy in Felix Pena who pitched 6 years in the big leagues.
Yeah, absolutely right. It's going to be fascinating to keep an eye on. And here's the Australian lineup, Michael.
Yeah, Tim Kennelly back in the leadoff spot. Looks pretty similar to what we saw yesterday. Whitefield, Wingrove, George, Hall, Wade, Boyarski 1 through 7. There is a change. Jordan McCardle who was a late addition to the roster. He checks in as the DH, batting 8th here to this afternoon. So no Perkins in Game 2, at least in a starting capacity. McCardle checks in. Jared Dale, the second baseman, rounds out the starting 9. And Sam Holland. We knew there was a pretty good chance that we'd see Holland yesterday in a tight game. They ultimately didn't use him, so that means Sam Holland will throw a few innings here this afternoon. This means so much to the guys for Team Australia. It means a lot to the guys for Hanwha because they're trying to get back on the right track as an organization, as a franchise. It's been a rough go for the last 15 years, but guys like Felix Pena are at the top of an outstanding pitching rotation that they hope only gets better. And defensively behind Pena, they line up quite a bit different than they did last night.
Yeah, they do indeed. We see some, we'll go from left to right in the outfield. Lee Myung-ki is in left, Lee Jin-yan in center, and Jonathan Perlaza, who played a pretty good center field yesterday, he moves to right. The superstar Roshi Hwan is at third again. The change is in the middle. Shortstop Lee Do-yoon and Kim Tae-yoon at second. That's a new combination there. Kim In-wan, the only guy who played the entire game for Hanwha yesterday, stays at first. And Lee Jae-won, who was the DH yesterday, moves behind the plate.
Well, let's get this game number 2 underway. Tim Kennelly strides to the plate against Felix Pena. 70 and 75 with a 4.19 ERA over a long professional career that has included 6 years in Major League Baseball, and this his third season with the Hanwha Eagles.
Fascinating guy, that's for sure. When you look through his history, World Series ring with the Cubs, didn't pitch but was on the roster, so did get a ring. So he's legit, no doubt about it.
The first pitch fouled back by Tim Kennelly, and we're underway. 1:02 the first pitch time on a glorious Sunday here in Altona.
He's about 23 right now, Michael. Expected high of about 25, depending on how long this game goes.
Kennelly 1 for 3 with a walk and a sacrifice bunt yesterday. And behind here, 0-2. Well, Pena with Hanwha has pitched a lot over the last couple of years. 45 starts, 16 and 15 with a 3.64 ERA, 219 strikeouts, 245 innings. So he'll pitch more so to contact. Not a huge strikeout guy, but ahead 0-2 on the all-time ABL great Tim Kennelly.
Cool.
And he takes high and tight. Well, Kennelly yesterday leading things off at the bottom of the first. Fell behind early in the count and came back to walk in his first plate appearance last night. Hanwha won that game 2-1. This time with a check swing. No appeal. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Umpiring crew this afternoon, Ryan Harder behind the plate. Casey Cook at first. Ben Nash is at second. Jeff Dunn, friend of the broadcast, over at third. 2-2. And a ground ball foul. Look out.
Wake-up call Logan Wade over there.
But I think that's Dave Nilsson. He didn't even move.
No,
he didn't bat an eye.
The ball's just going to bounce off Dingo, let's be honest.
Yeah.
One of the biggest humans you've ever met. You can see why it's such a power hitter.
Pena to Kennelly beginning game 2 of this showdown. And well struck left field. Key back makes the catch. The wind is fighting any ball out to left this afternoon. With it being a day game, you and I saw a lot more power, and it felt like a lot more runs scored in day games at this ballpark throughout the Aces season. Of course, warmer, the sun is out, so the ball's going to carry a little bit more. But still, I don't think today is necessarily a day for power hitting just based on the conditions that we've seen throughout the year and what we've seen here at MVP. First pitch to Aaron Whitefield. Tries a bunt. Here comes Rowe. Bare hand grab. Throw to first. In time. What a play. What an outstanding grab from Rowe, who had a couple of great plays at third in last night's game and challenged there with a bunt from Whitefield, and he can fly, but Rowe makes no mistake, 2 down.
We've been talking about this guy. We've seen him play once. This is the second time we've seen him play. He just continues to impress. Bare hands and fires against, as you mentioned, one of the faster guys in the field. This guy is a superstar. He is going to be fun to watch in the next few years.
But again, talking about the power hitting, when the wind's blowing in, no matter what, it just doesn't feel like you're going to see much of it. First pitch, and Wingrove takes outside.
Yeah, I was down in the field at the beginning of the game, and there was not much wind at all. It seems to have picked up a little bit, Michael, but I do agree with you.
That hits the outside corner on Wingrove, who's not in agreement. Now Pena 2 up, 2 down for the 6-year big leaguer. And you had mentioned the 2016 World Championship ring that he owns as a member of the 40-man roster for the curse-breaking Chicago Cubs. Won that famous World Series.
What a great moment. Even if you weren't a Cubs fan, you had to just appreciate that moment.
In that Game 7. The roller coaster ride that was. Swing and a miss. On the elevated pitch to Wingrove, you had the Rajai Davis game-tying home run off of Aroldis Chapman that sent Cleveland into a frenzy, and then easy to forget about the weather delay in that Game 7, so it just went on and on until the Cubs won in extra innings. Fastball high from Pena, 2 balls and 2 strikes. So as a member of the 40-man roster, he got a World Series ring, though he did not appear in a postseason game. Still, that is quite the addition to his collection. And a ground ball shot back up the middle. Diving stop from Lee. Recovers and a throw to first. Not in time. Rickson Wingrove beats it out. Not a guy who beats out a ton of infield singles, but he was able to just stretch that out. He gets the benefit of the doubt from Casey Cook, the first base umpire. And the inning continues for Darryl George.
Yeah, you're right about Rickson. It's not exactly the fleetest of foot, but hard hit ball. Good play from Kim, but just because he had to go so far to his right, or his left, I should say.
And it looked like he beat it out.
The shift was on, so my apologies. Obviously, that was the shortstop Lee, not the second baseman Kim.
First pitch to Darryl. Takes a fastball, called strike number 1 up in the zone. Well, Darryl 1 for 3 with a walk yesterday. We were all hoping he would come through with that huge moment. The bases loaded in front of the home fans in the 7th inning. Unfortunately, rolled into the double play, but all smiles for Darryl as he gets to don the green and gold in front of the home fans and this ballpark where he's played so many games over the years. You heard him talk to the third member of our crew, Eric Balnar, in the pregame about playing. He doesn't even know. A couple of 100 games at this ballpark over the years, and now he gets to add Team Australia. 0-2 with 2 outs and a man at first. And he fouls this back. Darryl on 39 Aces home runs, finished the regular season in a tie atop the all-time Aces home run leaderboard with Brad Harmon, who also hit 39, much earlier in the franchise's history. But DG gets to face off against the former big leaguer. And these are the kind of moments that, Australian guys won't be fazed by at all. Facing a guy like Pena, but with the experience they had in last year's WBC. 0-2. Swing and a miss. That is filthy in the dirt. And Pena, as advertised, in the top of the first. No runs, a 2-out single, 1 left, and Pena strikes out DG to end the top of the first inning. We head to the bottom half. It is Team Australia nothing and Hanwha coming up.
Well, this game wouldn't be possible, of course, without the help from the Victorian government. And part of that, of course, is getting people to come to Melbourne and enjoy it. And the beating heart of the culinary scene, Michael, is dining in Melbourne. Obviously, pursuit of creativity, quality, and innovation make it something special. Take a gastronomic journey down the city's numerous eat streets, joining diners from near and far as they relish in unexpected combinations of culinary delights created by inventive chefs. And I know from your time here, Michael, you've experienced a lot of this coffee and a lot of this good food.
I've had some very good coffee made by the different cafes and shops around the city, but I've also had some very good homemade coffee with those really nice coffee machines and beans.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm sure Sam Holland has had his fair share of coffee through the years. And the right-hander takes the mound in the bottom of the first, no score in Game 2 of this two-game international showdown between the Hanwha Eagles of the mighty KBO and Team Australia playing in Melbourne for the first time since 2017. Lee Jin-Yan will lead things off for the Eagles. Center fielder 0 for 3 with a strikeout in yesterday's game. Big body stepping to the plate, and Sam Holland in his professional career 30-12 with a 3.04 ERA. 429 innings for Holland over his pro career. 381 strikeouts, but not necessarily a starter. In fact, I think a lot of us were surprised to see Holland get the nod in a starting capacity. And the sidearmer deals the first pitch home. Nice play made by Wade. And a good scoop from Wingrove. So one pitch, one out in the bottom of the first. But you've seen Sam Holland so many times throughout the years. More often than not, though, in the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings, not so much in the first inning.
Yeah, I must admit, when I came in and you handed me the lineup and I said, who's on the mound? You said Sam Holland. I was one of those people that was a little bit surprised. But, look, his experience absolutely belies the fact that he hasn't started that much. He should be fine. Off to a good start there. Here's Perlaza, big hitter.
They had a couple of base hits yesterday, and they weren't the sharpest contact, but it gives you an idea of his power and ability to fight off some tough pitches and just muscle a couple of hits to the outfield. Also made a very nice catch in straightaway center right underneath the 370 mark. He fouls this back 0-2. Perlaza in yesterday's game was the center fielder. He's actually the right fielder here in Game 2. And he was one of the many Hanwha players who only featured in 5 or 6 innings. Customary spring training games for teams in the KBO, and the MPB, and Major League Baseball. And this playable for Darryl George. That makes the catch.
Tricky in that sun. You could see at the end a little bit of a flinch there from Darryl, but makes the play. 2 down.
Well, Sam Holland had 4 relief outings for Team Australia in the WBC. So the 5 games that the Aussies played in, Holland featured in 4 of those. And it was not necessarily the plan for him to start Game 2. In fact, they were more than willing to use Holland in a high-leverage spot yesterday, but that moment never came. The Australian bullpen was so good in last night's game. They didn't really have one of those shutdown, high-leverage moments. So Holland remained on the shelf in the bullpen, and if he didn't pitch in yesterday's game, he was going to start Game 2. So pretty much knew. They slipped it out towards left field, but Boyarski there to make the catch on a sharply hit ball from Lee Myung-ki. And 3 up, 3 down for Sam Holland in the bottom of the first. We head off now to the second, and there is no score from Melbourne Ballpark. But myself, Ed Wyatt, thrilled to be joined by Eric Balnar, the third member of our broadcast crew. And Eric, somewhere within this stadium, has a very special guest. So let's send it down to Mr. Balnar.
Thanks, guys. What's up, everyone? I'm down here in the grandstands. I'm in the, what do we call it, the WAG section here. I don't know what you call it. We've got Caitlin, Alex, Charlotte, partners with Rickson, Jared, and Jordan McCardle. But I'm talking to Caitlin Carroll right here. Caitlin, your partner, Jordan McCardle, he got his start today. Where were you when you found out he was in the starting lineup?
Well, we were in the hotel room, and I wake up and he's like, I'm DH today. And it was just so exciting for him. I mean, he's dreamed about this since he was a little kid, so to see him achieve that is fantastic. And I know everyone at home, his family, are so excited for him. So I know everyone will be cheering in Adelaide really loudly for him.
Well, before my next question here, I guess baseball, as a partner of a player, baseball season can be a little intense, can it?
Well, just when you think it's over, I mean, we thought our season was done when they won the championship, which was so amazing. And then on Monday, I get a phone call at work, and John's like, we're going to Melbourne this weekend. So it was really exciting. But it is a long 12 to 14 weeks.
I mean, we in the media and the fans like to think, yeah, you dream of putting on the green and gold, but you get to, do everyday life with Jordan McCardle. Is that actually something that players actually do talk about, dream about, aspire to?
If you ask Jordan what's the one thing he wanted to do in his baseball career, it'll be to play for Team Australia. So it's one of the highlights, I think, of his like all-time life. So it really is his dream. So it's amazing to watch it all come together.
Now, you are a South Australian softball superstar, and you had games on this weekend, but you're down here watching Jordan play. Was it ever a discussion about would you be coming or not for these games?
Well, unfortunately, I'm injured, so if I was playing, I would have just flown in late, but we were very lucky. My Glenelg girls got the win on Friday, so I was very excited for them. So, yeah, I would have just flown in late and then come over. So.
And we'll get back to you guys in just a second as Alex Hall is up to bat here. But what do you think this means? I mean, you're part of the South Australian softball, baseball community, so Jordan's a great representative of that local grassroots player coming up. What do you think this means to even the community to see a player like them get a chance like this at home?
I mean, Jordan is great with the younger kids, so I know for them to see someone that they watch every weekend play for Australia, they're like, yeah, I can do that. If he can do that, I can do it. So,
yeah, Caitlin Carroll, thank you very much for your time. We'll head it back to you guys so you can call this Alex Hall home run.
Sounds like a prediction. 2 balls and 1 strike, 2 in beginning the second inning.
Tough gig. Sit in the stands talking
in the
fans
sun.
In the sun.
What a gorgeous day it is here in Altona.
Have a new pitcher, by the way. So Pena only did go 1 inning. We were holding out that he might go 2 just to keep our scorebook a little less messy. But Lee Chung-Hoo is in now, left-hander, number 19. He's a 29-year-old in his 7th year with the Eagles.
Behind here, 3-1. And he takes high to Hall. Leadoff walk here in the second. So that was a theme for Hanwha yesterday, and understandable. These guys pitching in a live game situation for the first time in a while, and so the command was an issue. You heard Dave Nilsson talk about that from the Australian side, and never really did clean it up much until the very end when that closer shut things down. Lee Min-woo, 3 up, 3 down in that 9th inning.
Well, the thing we talk about, how hard it is to adjust to all these different pitchers, it's also not that easy to come in and just pitch 1 inning and then get out, because sometimes it takes a little while. We saw with Atherton yesterday. Couple innings, get yourself going. They don't have the opportunity. You're just in, you're pitching 1 inning, and you're gone. Not that easy.
It's an adjustment, too, for the Australian hitters, trying to get amped up and trying to figure guys out, and you're throwing a new arm, a new wrench in feels like every inning. And a 1-1. A late swing, and Wade spoils it, foul off the right-hand side. Not quite the same crowd here today, which is understandable, but also you have what is an outstanding crowd for a Sunday day game on balance.
Yeah, it's as big a Sunday crowd as I've seen here.
1-2. Middle infield at double play depth. And he takes called strike number 3 on a fastball up in the zone. So Lee Chung-Ho at the strikeout that he needed. And he follows up the leadoff walk. So 1-on-1 out. Here comes Ulrich Boyarski. How about that?
I saw him before the game. He watched that strikeout there. I said, "You okay after that tumble over the fence?" He said, "Yeah, I'm fine." Made a great catch yesterday, falling over the left field fence.
You talked about 9 pitchers for Hanwha yesterday. The only no-hitter I've ever seen was actually a spring training no-hitter. And the LA Angels no-hit the Seattle Mariners using 9 pitchers at their complex in
Peoria?
Tempe. It was, the Angels were the home team.
Gotcha.
And it was capped off. Everything led to a post-game concert from Gavin DeGraw. I don't know if you know who Gavin DeGraw is.
I'm not sure I do.
You know the song Chariot?
I don't know.
Maybe it didn't come over
Country?
here. No, it's more.
Don't think I know it.
Singer-songwriter.
Cross-cultural problem.
kind of cut with the same cloth as like the Fray and bands like that.
All right, yes.
Sort of that mid-2000s pop. Anyways, Gavin DeGraw played a concert on the field, and That was after I saw my beloved Mariners get no hit by 9 pitchers in a spring training game.
Nice.
2-1. There goes the runner. Swing and a miss. Throw down to second. Not in time. Hall got an outstanding jump. And a stolen base. The second in this showdown for Australia. Whitefield had the other last night. A runner into scoring position. And the Aussies with a chance perhaps to take their first lead of this 2-game series.
So much for your theory of not being able to get a good jump from first.
Well, he didn't slip transitioning from the dirt to the turf that I feel like we've seen a lot this year.
I agree. I'm just giving you a bad time.
2-2. And a ground ball outside a third foul. How about some of the plays that Boyarski made defensively last night? Had the sliding catch in the 9th inning, had the catch in foul territory where his momentum carried him over the fence down that left field line. And he also had Australia's only RBI in last night's 2-1 loss. It was on that ground out in the 2nd inning. In fact, all 3 runs in last night's game came in the first 3 innings. Hanwha held on to win 2-1. 2-2. Yeah, now the count full to Boyarski with Jordan McCardle awaiting on deck. So how cool is it for McCardle to get that late call with Lachlan Wells, who was supposed to be on this roster, but he's already in Phillies camp overseas. So roster spot opened up and gets to play in front of the partner as well.
Yeah, she mentioned how special it is for him.
Payout pitch. Swing and a miss. Went off speed. Back-to-back strikeouts now for Lee.
He recovered nicely there, didn't he?
There's a Hanwha dugout. And I know that as much as they've enjoyed their time in Melbourne, they get closer and closer to that season beginning. They're ready to move on to Okinawa, Japan. And another look at that pitch. It always looks like a strike until it's not. So Boyarski 0 for 5 in this 2-game showdown. 2 outs, and let's see if Jordan McCardle can come through with a chance to wear the green and gold. Takes the first pitch, fastball at the knees, strike number 1. A leadoff walk to Alex Hall. He is at second base after a stolen base. But back-to-back strikeouts of Wade and Boyarski. Gives Lee with a chance to get out of this inning unscathed. And McCardle lifts it a long way foul down the left field line. 2 strikes to him. The South Australian native and member of the Adelaide Giants.
We have seen him hit some monster home runs over the years.
He's got 16 home runs his last 2 seasons, so he's been a very dangerous ABL bat. 2 strikes and 2 outs, left on left. Very close, but McCardle gets the benefit of the doubt. I think I see a grin from him outside of that left-handed batter's box. Close take.
Sure was.
And there's an extra second from Lee on the mound. Get one more look at it.
Yeah,
a little bit low and outside.
Yeah, I agree.
Now the 1-2. And it's taken high, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Just a reminder, Team Australia is the visiting team today. This is the top of the 2nd inning. Hanwha playing the home team today.
Deuce is wild, 2-2 with 2 outs. Swing and a miss. And how about that response from Lee after the leadoff walk? Strikeouts of Wade, Boyarski, McCardle. He works around the game's first run in scoring position. And we go to the bottom of the 2nd, scoreless here from Melbourne Ballpark. But as we've discussed at length already, Ed, this all possible thanks to the Victorian government. And how about some of the coffee and brunch here in Melbourne?
Well, it's the undisputed coffee capital of Australia, internationally known for its cafe culture. Did you know, Michael, I think you did know this because I said it yesterday, it boasts more cafes and restaurants per capita than anywhere in the world. Do you know how many coffees are consumed on a daily basis? Do you remember? Did you do your
3
homework?
million.
3 million, very good.
30 tons.
30 tons
Yes.
of coffee beans on a daily basis. Of course, you can stroll through the inner city neighborhoods, exploring the culture, have a chat with the baristas who will be very happy to discuss the ins and outs of their beans and brews. And here we are back at Melbourne Ballpark for the bottom of the second inning.
Good start to this one. Much quieter and tamer crowd, it feels like, than what we had last night, but that's understandable with Saturday night into Sunday afternoon. And Sam Holland back out for the second inning with 1-2-3 against Lee Perlaza and Lee in the first. It'll be Rowe, Kim, and Kim. That's Kim Tae-yoon and Kim In-hwan in the second inning. So a good start for Sam Holland, and even though he hasn't been a starter very often in his career, he's looked pretty comfortable. And his first inning of work here against Hanwha.
Yeah, quick 3 up and 3 down to start the first, but let's see what he does here with Roshi Hwan, who, as we just don't have enough superlatives to talk about this guy, the home run leader last year in the KBO as well as the RBI leader, even while he missed a month of baseball because of the Asia Games. So this guy is something special, and really privileged to be able to watch him play these 2 games. Been a joy to watch.
Had a walk-off single against Dan McGraw in that tournament last year. Not difficult to see why, now that we've actually got to see him play. He is legit. And he's played a very good defensive third baseman as well. A couple of hits and a sac fly in last night's game, so
They think he might be destined for the majors. We hear a lot of that talk. Who knows? But
well, he's only gotten better and better. Here's the 1-0. Off the end of the bat, right side, tough play. Dale from second, and makes it look easy. A little easier to make that with a bounding ball on turf, but still. Once that got past Holland, you were questioning.
Knew that was
right
going to
side
happen.
of the infield.
Knew that was going to happen, didn't you? We talk about him, going to be in the majors, superstar. Weak grounder to second.
Yep. Tough game, this one.
Commentator's curse.
So 1 out. Here comes Kim Tae-yoon, the second baseman. Walked in his only plate appearance last night.
This guy can play any position on the field, Michael.
And he takes a first pitch, strike number 1.
7th
the
season with the
inside
Eagles, 261 hitter, 4 home runs last year, career 252 hitter. Very versatile 26-year-old.
Behind quickly, 0-2. Holland has retired the first 4 batters he's faced. He's also extremely dangerous off the bench. Great guy to have in a depth role. 0-2. Ground ball to third. Here comes DG. Has to be quick. And is right on the money. Darryl George making it look easy on a very difficult ground ball tucked down the third base line. But 5 up, 5 down for Sam Holland. And here comes Kim In-hwan.
Get a look at that again. We've already seen some beautiful plays in the field just through the first couple innings.
Maite quietly, who's played a really nice first base in this 2-game set, and that's Rickson Wingrove. He's made some very subtle plays that aren't necessarily easy, but he's been very good defensively. And you and I were spoiled watching Greg Bird all year.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I literally was going to say those words, but you're right. And Wingrove's been sensational.
1-0. Holland trying to go 6 up, 6 down to start. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, Kim In-hwan with A couple of strikeouts, a walk last night.
Trying to figure out if that was punishment or not. He was the only player not substituted in last night's game.
1-1. Fouled straight back. Yeah, we kept. Obviously, you and I can't read Korean, so it's tough to figure out who the players are with the name on the back of the jersey. But you had different numbers, and obviously we have the rosters, so we were able to figure out through the different numbers that the guys coming in. And yet 37 just kept coming up and going out to play defensively. And here he is yet again in the sixth spot of this afternoon's batting order.
If he plays the entire 9 today, I'm going to find out from our friends at Hanwha why. There's got to be a reason.
Well, I think that most recent foul ball might have knocked the camera a little crooked. 1-2. And Holland deals. In the air out to left, down for a base hit. 2-out single for Kim. Now the first hit, first base runner for Hanwha in Game 2. The inning continues for Lee Jae-won, a catcher we did not see in last night's game.
We didn't see him on the field, obviously. We did see him as the DH, but he certainly wasn't on the field.
Yes, that is true,
Yeah,
yes.
Tonight he goes behind the plate.
Next to bat for the Hanwha Eagles, Lee Jae-won.
Up to the 7th spot.
Oof. Just missed with that one.
Juan, a free agent signing. We talked about this yesterday to bolster catching depth. With SK from 2006 to 2020, the Landers of SSG the last 3 years. 1-0. Inside. That backs him off the plate. 2 balls and no strikes.
So the Wyverns, SK Wyverns, became SSG Landers.
What is a wyvern?
It's I believe it's a bird maybe or a dragon. It's something mythical, I believe. I believe. I'll have to look that up.
In the air, left field. Boyarski has it measured. And no problems for Sam Holland in the second. 2-out single, 1 man left. We go to the 3rd. And we have another interview with Eric Balnar. And I believe he's in the dugout with Josh Geyer. Eric, all yours.
Down here in the best seats in the house in the bullpen with Josh Geyer. Josh, it was an awesome pitching effort from the bullpen, the whole team staff last night, again tonight, and it seems to always be the case when Team Australia plays. It's just a mob mentality with that bullpen, the whole pitching staff. What's the approach of the pitching staff when you come to a tournament for Team Australia or games like this?
I think the aim is just to give as many different looks as possible. It's obviously we've got a lot of really, really good arms in the squad, and keeping everyone fresh and giving the team different looks so they can't get used to anybody is the way to go for our strategy for tournament play.
And then how do you go about even changing roles? I mean, you yourself, right? Sometimes you start, sometimes you come out in relief. How do people adjust in these big tournament-style plays?
Yeah, I guess it's all about just being prepared for anything and adapting, what your process is. Obviously, there's a lot of open communication with Benny about, expectations and things like that. And when you get into a situation like this, you just put in the work and make sure that you're ready when your name's called.
I mean, he always says that, right? Like, everybody be ready at every pitch, every moment of all time. Is that just something he says, or are you literally ready at every moment, every pitch at all times?
Yeah, no, legitimately ready for any pitch at any time. We obviously wait for the phone call down to the bullpen, but we're up here from the first inning because we don't know whether the starter's going to go 1 hitter or 5 innings, so always ready.
And what has this week been like for you? Can you tell us about sort of the experience? How trainings? Do you go to trainings? Do you walk me through the last 4 days?
So got into Melbourne, had a training session that night, trained the next day, and obviously now we're here, so we just try and utilise the time we have to bond as quickly as we can, and get back to playing for Team Australia. So
thanks, Josh. I'll let you grab your glove and get ready for a home run. That's probably going to go right over this fence here.
Easy, thank you.
Back to you guys.
Thank you, Eric. We go to the third new pitcher for Hanwha, and that feels like something that you and I could go ahead and record, and they just play it at the beginning of every inning, because this is now the 12th inning of this showdown and the 12th different Hanwha pitcher. It is the Venezuelan Ricardo Sanchez facing Jared Dale, Tim Kennelly, and Aaron Whitefield. No score as we go to the third.
I know we've done a research on him. He has a very interesting backstory, Ricardo Sanchez.
Well, he's been around a lot, and this is his second year with Hanwha. Former major leaguer with the St. Louis Cardinals for 3 appearances in 2020, so that COVID-shortened season with no fans in the stands. But still, he got to the highest level. He signed with the Angels back in 2013. He was traded to Atlanta in 2015, then traded to Seattle in 2018, claimed off waivers by the Cardinals in 2020, promoted to the big leagues on August 15th, made his debut on August 17th against the Chicago Cubs, and then re-signed with St. Louis in 2021, missed the entire year with an injury, released in March of 2022, signed by the Phillies, then traded to Detroit, then released, then signed by the White Sox, and made his Hanwha debut last year. And pitched well, 7-8 with a 3.79 ERA in 24 appearances. Not a guy who's going to strike a ton of batters out, but also has very good command. Full count pitch upcoming here to Jared Dale with no score in the top of the third.
I told you had an interesting backstory, didn't I?
I mean, think about how many different sets of gear he's got from different teams and different equipment bags he has. I mean,
amazing. A wyvern is sort of a dragon, by the way.
You got
we
it.
did check on that. SK Wyverns, former Korean team.
Ground ball to short. Chest tie grab by Lee and a throw across in time. They got Dale by a step, one out in the top of the third.
Top of the order now coming up. Kennelly and Whitefield.
We've seen some very clean defense in this series between both teams.
We have seen some great defense in general in this ballpark throughout the ABL season, not just the aces, but the visiting teams as well, and it's continuing in this series.
Here's Tim Kennelly, fly to left his first time.
Good pitch.
Ricardo Sanchez pitching on a $750,000 U.S. dollar contract this year.
That'll work.
That's not a bad little payday.
Just a little bit more than what you and I get for these broadcasts.
Not by much. But if you and I went to dinner with Mr. Sanchez and he offered to pick up the bill, I'd let him.
Yeah.
He's got a few more zeros than I do. 1-2 with one out. No score in the top of the third. Kennelly coming through for a second time. Very close pitch there, but now 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Talking with some of the Hanwha people before the game, and they were going on about that pitch yesterday that we thought was a strike.
I thought it was very clearly a strike.
Agreed.
Logan Wade got the benefit of the doubt, ended up walking.
They clearly remembered that.
And it's funny, too, because Hanwha, there's not really a ton of argument for the Hanwha pitchers or hitters to make, because they're getting ready for an automated strike zone. 2-2. High chopper. That's a fair ball. Rowe with a strong throw. No, it's a foul ball. Home plate umpire Ryan Harder came out to make that call. So, false start. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 1 out, bases clear in the third. And we get another look at this.
It was a tricky one. It looked fair, as your call was, but we're not there. He's right on it.
Still 2-2. And the pitch. Outside, 3 balls, 2 strikes to Tim Kennelly.
Another good at-bat from TK. Really good eye.
And he walks, ball 4.
That's a great at-bat.
Second walk allowed by Hanwha this afternoon. It was Lee Chung-ho in the second who walked Hall to begin things and then struck out Wade, Woyarski, and McCardle in order to end that inning. But one out, free pass here to TK. You got some good speed on the base paths. Tim Kennelly, one of the co-captains of this team, along with Warwick Southpole. And a first pitch, strike one on the inside corner to Aaron Whitefield. Whitey is 0 for 1. Very nice play made by Rowe, and Whitefield tried to bunt himself aboard in the first. This time he lines one into center. Kennelly to second, 2 on 1 out. Here comes Rickson Wingrove.
That's more like it if you're a Team Australia fan. Good spot for Wingrove here.
So Wingrove steps in. A 2 on 1 out, no score in the top of the third. Yeah, the first pitch to him is low. And as fun as this weekend has been, I do think a lot of the fans here are waiting for something to really get excited about. And Australia just hasn't had that moment, at least not at the plate yet. Big swing. Wingrove was trying to give something for them to cheer about there.
Exactly. No, you're absolutely right. It has been very well played games, but you're right. There hasn't been that big moment, that big home run, that big bases clearing hit.
1-1. It is low. 2 balls and a strike. Great story about Rickson Wingrove and his family from Newcastle. How baseball-centric it has been. And
yes.
Basically had no other option than to play baseball as a kid because that's what his entire family did.
His father and his grandfather.
2-1. And low to him, 3 balls and 1 strike. And he played in a handful of years ago a Division VI team there in Newcastle. With 6 family, there were 6 Wingroves in the lineup. They won the championship, went undefeated that year. 3-1. Well, outside, they're loaded up for Darryl George. So we get another chance for DG with the bases full.
Here we go. And Sanchez in a little bit of a jam here.
Now here comes a visit.
Yeah. First one we've seen.
Darryl George with the bases full in the 7th inning last night, trying to provide that huge moment. Got a chance to give Australia its first lead of this showcase this afternoon. Bases full, 1 out, top of the third, and DG stepping to the plate. George struck out swinging in the first. Kennelly at third, Whitefield at second, Wingrove at first. Sanchez in trouble. Strike one with the inside corner. Darryl didn't like the call.
That's a good pitch to come back with.
A lot of fans have their phones out, videoing this Darryl George opportunity. 1-1. Fouled it back. Tough fastball there in on the hands. And seems like Sanchez, who's gone back to the wind with the bases full, of course, doesn't have to worry about keeping the base runners true. Working quickly.
Throwing some heat, too.
1-2. Ground ball to short, and through the legs of Lee. This will give Australia its first lead. 2-run score, and Darryl George delivers. Put the ball in play, good things happen. Australia leads it 2-0 in the third.
We'll get a look at that. Lee
Powerfully hit ground ball by Daryl George.
in tonight in place of Haju Suk, who played last night, and just kind of let that ball get underneath him.
Next to bat for Team Australia, Alex Hall.
Nice break for Team Australia. Here it is. Little breaking ball from Sanchez. George reaches out, pushes it, scores a couple of runs.
Goes down as a base hit for Daryl George.
Does it really? Wow.
So 2 RBIs for DG. In front of the home crowd. 1-0. Inside, 2 balls and no strikes. Important to remember, too, there's no real official stat keeping in this 2-game set, so this isn't going to ruin somebody's
why
career.
Not give
but
him a hit? No,
it's a feel-good story.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly right.
Australia
It's a
looking on
love
with its first
story.
lead. A ground ball off the mound. This could be 2. Quick turn, throw to first. 4-6-3 it goes. And the inning comes to an end, but not before Daryl George comes through with a 2-run single. That's what we'll call it. And Australia takes a 2-0 lead into the bottom of the third. Here's another look. Good piece of hitting by DG. Puts the ball in play with a breaking ball over the outside part of the plate. Got through the legs of Lee. Scores a couple. Aaron Whitefield right behind Tim Kennelly. And for the first time in this 2-game showcase, Team Australia has a lead. So we go to the bottom of the third. 2-0 in favor of the Aussies.
Well, the Mornington Peninsula is famous for its laid-back charm. You can breathe in the fresh sea air, sample some local cuisine, just soak up the relaxed al fresco lifestyle. What a great place, just an hour from Melbourne. Home to boutique wineries, craft breweries, and distilleries that sit alongside. I've been there. That's a beautiful spot, alongside award-winning restaurants and local produce stores. Combine this with art galleries, manicured gardens, geothermal springs, and some really nice golf courses for a relaxing and indulgent experience. The Mornington Peninsula.
You had me at golf courses.
Ah, beautiful down there. It's magnificent.
Well, Team Australia with a 2-0 lead. We go to the bottom of the third inning, and Dave Nilsson, Jim Bennett looking on. Jim Bennett is not Australian, but he is on the Australian coaching staff. In fact, I've seen Jim a lot over the years in the American Association. His son TJ Bennett as well, who came out here to play.
Yeah, he's from Orange County, originally pitched in the minors for many years, also pitched in Italy, in Florence, I believe. If you're going to pitch in Europe, Firenze is a great place to do it.
Maybe they're looking for a broadcast duo. We can go out there.
I like it. Good thinking.
Little better for the Hanwha Eagles is Lee Go.
So a third inning for Sam Holland.
It's looked great.
Lee Do-yoon, shortstop. Takes low for ball 1. 0 for 1 yesterday. One of those Eagles who played the second half of the game. One-0 pitch. In the air, slicing drive left center. Boyarski, Whitefield come together, and there's a look at that speed from Aaron Whitefield. He covers so much ground, and he makes that look easy for out number 1.
Yeah, if you haven't watched the Aces at all this year, the Melbourne Aces, that is the kind of routine play that Aaron Whitefield can make. He's just incredible athlete, good speed, great instincts, gets a good jump. So much fun to watch in center field this year, Michael. We just had a blast watching Whitey play that position.
First pitch. And it's lowered away to Choi Jae-hoon. 0 for 3 with a strikeout in yesterday's game. DHing batting ninth here this afternoon. Australia with a 2-0 lead through a 2-run single from Daryl George. 1-0. Called a strike over the inside corner, 1-1. Lee Jin-yan looms on deck. So Hanwha getting ready to turn over the lineup card. Big swing and a miss. Good breaking ball there from Holland, who's looked great. It's 1-2.
Talked about how good Steve Kent looked yesterday. Holland looking equally as impressive here this afternoon.
How about Holland? Even though he's not a big strikeout guy, still a high leverage reliever. And he's a guy with Brisbane who is 18-5 in 122 career appearances. 5 losses in 122 ABL games.
Yeah, that's something special.
That is impressive, to say the least. 2-2. And it's lifted foul the other way. Also, Eric Balnard told us a great story about Sam Holland and how interesting the dynamic is in the ABL, where you have a lot of guys who this is their Major League Baseball. They are Australian natives. They play baseball year-round, but getting to play in the ABL is the biggest thing for them.
Yeah.
And you have players who come over from, whether it's the USA or Japan, Korea, 2-2.
Oh.
Called strike 3. There's his first strikeout. So he's retired 8 of 9. Only the 2-out single to Kim In-hwan in the second. Here comes Lee Jin-yan for the second time. Aussies up 2-0. 2 outs, nobody out here in the bottom of the third. But when you have those imports who come out here, and maybe for the guys who aren't part of major league organizations, they look at it as a vacation. For the guys who are part of big league organizations or part of MPB teams, KBO teams, whoever it might be, it's a guy like Sam Holland. Oh, and this is right back to him. Pinballs over to Darryl George, and George, tough throw, not in time. That would have been one of the most outstanding plays we've seen. That's a tough luck single to give up to Lee Jin-yan, and he's got the second hit for Hanwha. Holland saying he's all right, but we'll see that, I'm sure, here momentarily. I'll finish the story on Sam Holland.
Yeah, that's just pure bad luck, really.
Ground ball. I'm sure that Logan Wade up the middle would have had that in behind second, and instead the inning continues for Jonathan Perlaza. With 2 outs, runner at first, 2-0 here in the bottom of the third. And Holland deals. First pitch low. Perlaza popped out to Gerald George in the first on the look. So on the ground ball, right back up the box.
Sort of liner right at Holland off his ankle, essentially. George with
pretty astounding that he even had a chance to make that play.
Agreed.
But just to finish that note, so when the imports get to Brisbane, they don't even train for the first day or two. In fact, guys like Sam Holland take them around so they can learn the city that they're going to play for, right? They're going to learn what Brisbane's all about. Here's a sharp ground ball, but gobbled by Dale, and they go the short way to end the third. So job well done by Holland, assuming that's probably the end for him after 3 innings of work. And that's how you build the culture like they have in Brisbane. You get the guys who are not from Australia to learn who it is they're playing for, what city they're playing in, and that's why the Bandits have been so successful. Holland at the core of that. 2-0, we go to the fourth here from Melbourne Ballpark.
We're talking about introducing people to the region. Let me introduce you to Daylesford in the Macedon Ranges region, home to Australia's largest concentration of natural mineral springs, but also it's got world-class day spas and well-being centers, award-winning restaurants serving local food and wine, serene villages to explore. It's the ideal place for indulgence, relaxation, rejuvenation. Kyneton, Trentham, Daylesford, unbelievably beautiful regions and really pretty close, hour and a half or so from Melbourne. Headed to the top of the fourth inning. And do you want to say it, or would you like me to say it, Michael? I'll say it. We've got a new pitcher for the Hanwha Eagles.
I didn't know where you were going with for a second, and then I got it.
Kim Seo-hyun coming on.
And another good example of this being spring training baseball with opportunity to look at the new reliever coming in straight down the line. That's number 72, Park Seung-min, the pitching coach for these Hanwha Eagles. So just making sure everything's all right from behind the mound before the new righty takes over.
So there's a little story here on Kim Seo-hun, my friend. 19-year-old drafted number 1 last year. Had a little issue in spring training,
Yep.
Michael. A few social media posts got him in a little bit of trouble. Was suspended from spring training last year. Has some control issues on the mound, maybe off the field as well, but has some real potential. They really like this guy.
Well, and give him credit, too. I mean, he owned up to it.
Yeah, 100%.
And he could have very easily hidden behind sort of the anonymity of the post that leaked out, but he didn't. He said, nope, that's my fault.
Yep.
I was frustrated. And he apologized for what was a mistake. And so his professional career got out to a very difficult and unique start.
That's Wade grounding to second. Pretty easy play for Kim Tae-yoon, 1 away.
And as a result, last year just didn't really go according to plan. You had mentioned the first overall pick last year.
Yeah.
$400,000 signing bonus, which the 3rd highest for a rookie in Hanwha history. He actually hit over 100 miles an hour in high school, but 20 outings last year, a 7.25 ERA. His form is pretty wild. They're trying to work on those mechanics. Part of the reason why you saw the pitching coach watch him from behind the mound as he warmed up, but you can see there's that velocity, a good fastball on the outside corner to Boyarski, and the sky really is the limit for this kid. As you mentioned, still just 19 years old.
Boyarski looking for his first hit of the series. Struck out in the 2nd inning. And yeah, Kim firing in some heat on this appearance. Boyarski fouls that one, stays alive. Once again, a reminder that the home team in this one is the Hanwha Eagles Club from Korea. Team Australia, the visitors today, so we are in the top of the 4th inning. Grounded foul. Count remains 0-2.
By the way, one thing I wanted to add for those watching at home, if you've noticed defensively that Hanwha has played pretty much straight up no matter the situation, and that all the players have been on the infield turf, that's because the same shift rule that Major League Baseball used last year, the KBO is implementing this year.
Ooh, there's a broken bat.
So Hanwha has to have 2 players, 2 infielders on each side of second base. If you drew an imaginary line from the plate to second, we get one more look at always a shot that you never want to see because you just cringe at the amount of money that might cost a player when you shatter a bat. But also when the pitch is delivered, all the infielders have to have their cleats on the infield turf here and infield dirt elsewhere.
That's
so
interesting. Yeah.
We saw a lot of shifting in the ABL this year because there are no restrictions on your ability to shift. The KBO, along with the pitch clock and the automatic balls and strikes, has the shift rule this year too.
Boyarski goes down swinging, 2nd strikeout of the afternoon for him, and it's 2 quick outs for Kim Seo-hyun. And here comes Jordan McArdle. He was part of that 3 strikeout back-to-back run in the 2nd inning from Lee Chung-hoo. So other than Sanchez, the Hanwha pitchers have been pretty solid here this afternoon. This is outside, ball 1. Top of the 4th, 2-0 in favor of Team Australia. Ed Wyatt, Michael Dixon with you from Melbourne Ballpark. That's fouled away, 1-1. Beautiful Sunday afternoon, about 23 degrees at first pitch. Currently 24, so beautiful, beautiful afternoon.
There's Daryl.
Outside corner, strike two. McCardle didn't like it.
And one more thing to note, too. The umpires aren't watching that shift. That is self-imposed. Hanwha has to learn.
Right.
And they've got to train that way, so that's why they're doing things the way they're doing them.
Love that look in Rickson Wingrove. Just a great look. That's a ball player right there. McCardle looks at a really close pitch, but it's 2-2. There you go, Michael. I want to see you with that look next year when you come back to the Aces.
I think they might scrub the pregame camera hit if that happens.
2-2. Swing and a miss. That's a really nice inning from this promising young Korean pitcher, and we'll head to the bottom of the fourth. Score is still 2-0 in favor of Team Australia.
And I believe we also have Eric Balnar down on the field, and Eric standing by with today's starting pitcher, Sam Holland. All yours, Eric.
Down here with Sam Holland. Sam, a couple zeros on the scoreboard right there. What was the scouting report for yourself out there tonight?
Mate, I just stuck to, I guess, the way that I pitch. When you got such an awesome field behind you, it kind of plays to my style of pitching, which is getting the ball on the ground and letting the fielders do the work. Makes my job a lot easier.
Man, you're like the ultimate Swiss Army knight. So I watch you at a box score one game and you're relieving, the next one you're starting. Is that hard to switch between the two?
My mentality stays the same. I've been a reliever traditionally for most of my career, so I just kind of use it as just relieving the first inning onwards. We've got a plan that we're not going 2-3 times through the order, so I'm giving it everything from pitch one. All pitches are ready to go.
Now you're going against a pretty good lineup of big-time professional Korean baseball players, including a guy that might win the MVP this season. How is your mentality going against like a pretty elite caliber of batters?
I more so just stay focused on myself. If I stick to my game plan and execute my pitches, the results usually take care of themselves. Obviously, against a good team like Hanwha, you miss your pitch by a little bit, it can go a long way. So you got to be a little bit finer with those pitches. But I just kind of focus on myself to try and get the job done. I
mean, what I love about you is we had good chats in Tokyo earlier this year, and you are a big believer in raising the confidence of everybody around you, saying that you believe Australia is right on par with everybody else. I know you think that's true.
100%, mate. We're right there, and we're one hit away from winning a game against Japan. And, come November, we're going to be right there to do it.
All right, Sam Holland, thank you very much. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Eric. Eric Balnar, very much a part of this broadcast team. Really great to have him out and about at Melbourne Ballpark. New pitcher, great story here, Michael Dixon. Warwick Saupold, the veteran Perth Heat pitcher. And Saupold will step in against the team he actually played for.
And he looks healthy, despite what said they were going to throw some curveballs Saupold's way to try and foul him up this weekend. Of course, they were just joking, but
played for the Hanwha Eagles in 2019 and 2020.
Very clearly has a great relationship with the staffers and some of the players that he played with.
Certainly does, and he faces Lee Myung-ki, the left fielder, and then the big gun, Ro Shi-hwan and Kim Tae-yoon here in the bottom of the fourth inning.
In fact, when they got here yesterday, first time that both teams were on the site, and the staffers came in and they asked me, "Where's Warwick?"
That's great. That's inside for a ball, 2-2. 2-0 lead, Team Australia. Bottom of four, Hanwha the home team today for this second game of the series. It's low now. It's worked the count full. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Great buzz around the ballpark prior to this game. 3-2 pitch. Hit up in the air. Going to be a tough play in the sun. Wade is over in foul territory, and it stays fair, in fact. That is a fair ball. And that's going to result in Lee safe at second. Very tricky in the wind and the sun. Wade called for it, but had some trouble with it there at the end.
Yeah, there was a moment where it felt like Wade had it measured, and then he kind of took one extra look towards the line, and it just didn't seem like he was going to get there. You can tell, takes one more look, and that's where he's sprinting, trying to get there, and it falls out of his reach.
And that
was always
wind.
going to be a tough play, and the wind.
That's that wind,
Yep.
and I don't want to make this sound weird, but does Robbie Glendenning, who played here all year, know how that ball's going to go more than Logan Wade? I don't know. It's a very tricky ballpark sometimes, as we've seen all year, to make a play when it's a ball drifting to that left field line.
It's a very fortuitous double to begin things here in the Hanwha fourth. Good pitch there from Southpole, and I think he'd use a strikeout right here. It had 0-2.
Especially on Ro Shi Huan.
Yep.
So Lee's on second, courtesy of that tricky play down the left field line.
Southpole's a guy who would probably be very impressed with the steps that Rowe has taken, having seen the early part of his career and the amount of success that he's had over the last few years, gotten better and better. When these two were teammates a few years ago, I bet Southpole looked at Rowe and felt like he was such a baby, right? Just brand new in professional baseball. And he's molded it into a bona fide KBO MVP candidate.
That's hit up the middle. That's a base hit. Rowe delivers. Lee coming around third. There's going to be a play at home. No, he slides safely in. And it's 2-1. Hanwha on the board, courtesy of that man, Ro Shi Huan.
Well, the Eagles have 3 runs in this showdown, and all 3 have been delivered now by Ro Shi Huan. He had 2 RBIs yesterday, RBI single in the 4th inning today. Tough luck for Southpole on that fortuitous leadoff double from Lee Mi-young-ki, but it's such a simple swing. And for a guy who hit 31 home runs last year, the contact we've seen him make here this weekend in Melbourne has just been very concise. The swing has been tight, and he's looked great.
Potential double play ball here. Wade, Dale over to first to Wingrove. 2 down, pitcher's best friend.
Yeah, that'll help, and probably something that Southpole had coming his way after gave up the double to Lee Mi-young-ki on that blooper down the left field line. But Hanwha does get a run back, and a good pitch there from Southpole. 2-seamer running in. Tough for Kim Tae-yoon to do much with, and in on the hands, a ground ball. Wade the Dale to Wingrove, and double play turned by Team Australia.
Here's Kim In-hwan, the first baseman, singled in the 2nd inning. And if you're just joining us, we'll keep an eye on him. He's the only player for Hanwha that was not substituted in yesterday's game. Played the entire 9 innings, only 1. And we'll see what happens to him today. I'm very curious. I've sort of become obsessed with this, Michael, to see whether he's going to be substituted in this one or whether he gets the whole 9 again.
And then if he doesn't, we have to follow the games in Okinawa.
Indeed.
We have to follow every pitch until he gets a break.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Good pitch from Southpole.
It'll be so fun to cheer for these guys, too, when they leave and following. I think Hanwha gained some new fans with the Melbourne front office with their 3 weeks here, and definitely me. I'll be an Eagles fan now, following closely this upcoming season and the seasons after that, because they were just so gracious and so nice from the second they stepped foot here in Melbourne Ballpark.
That's in the dirt now. 3-2, full count. I think that first day I said something. I texted you and said, have they arrived? What's going on? I can't remember the word you used. It was basically essentially saying they hit the ground running. They mean business.
Yep.
I think that's what you might have said to me. Here's a full count pitch. That's hit well into right field. That is hit really well. And that is over the fence for a home run. Kim In-hwan. That's why he's playing 9 innings. It's 2-2.
The Korean fans love it on their feet behind the first base dugout with the cheers, the cheering sticks, and that's what they came to see. First home run in this showcase. And just like that, 2 runs off the south pole, the former Hanwha Eagle. This game is level at 2 in the 4th. There was no doubt about that. 390 feet into the wind, out to right center field. Not an easy ballpark to hit for power end. And Kim In-hwan.
There's a grounder from Lee. Wade makes the play, but not before 2 runs from the Hanwha Eagles. They're right back in it. We're 2-2, headed to the top of the 5th.
Let's welcome back over the diamond our dance crew and Indy.
Another great part of the world, Michael Dixon. Australia's premier wine-growing regions, the Yarra Valley, also offers an exquisite food experience. It's only an hour or so from Melbourne. Get a taste of Victoria's top drops on a journey through the Yarra Valley's picturesque vine-filled vistas. Plenty of great cool climate wines, Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Shiraz, even some Cabernet Sauvignon. Also, while it's best known for its wine, the region produces some of the finest cider, ale, and gin in the country. The Yarra Valley, just another place for you to explore. Top of the 5th now, 2-2. After Hanwha recovering and jumping back into this thing, and as has been going on, we've got another new pitcher, Kim Ki-jong.
So that makes it 14 innings at 14 Hanwha pitchers.
Yep.
And another look at that big swing off the south pole in the 4th. No doubt about it. For number 37, Kim In-hwan, first home run of this showdown. That hit something out there, too, beyond the right field fence because it took an immediate right turn. I'm not sure what it got, but
I saw that.
That's trot around the bases for Kim In-hwan, who adds a home run in Melbourne, Australia to his career.
Something to tell the kids and grandkids about. Kim Ki-jong, 21-year-old, 4th year with the Eagles, was 1-3 last year, 4.63 ERA.
Kim Ki-jong.
6'1", left-hander. And he will face Jared Dale, Tim Kennelly, and Aaron Whitefield.
Yep. Takes over for Kim Seo-hyun, who was outstanding. 3 up, 3 down with a couple of strikeouts, and specifically with Kim Ki-jong. He's, as you mentioned, 2nd overall pick a few years ago, but he immediately made an impact in 2021. Didn't pitch much in 2022, but last year had a 4.63 ERA, and that is with 76 walks in 122 innings. So very high walk rate. And if Kim Ki-jong can really harness the strike zone and throw a few more strikes, you feel like the sky is the limit for this young left-hander.
First pitch to Jared Dale's a strike. Now we may see some substitutions for Hanwha, and we will endeavor to get them across to you as soon as we know them. It's fouled out of play. Quick 0-2 count on Jared Dale. Grounded out in the 3rd inning, his first time up. Seen a lot of Eagles merch in the stands, not just Eagles fans, but just some local fans getting on board, which is great to see. Swing and a miss, just like that. Kim gets Dale, 1 away.
Well, Hanwha has racked up the strikeouts in this game. That's now 7 and 4 1/3 innings against this Australia lineup.
3 in a row.
3 in a row and 5 consecutive retired after George's 2-run single in the third. That included the double play ball from Alex Hall that got Hanwha through the rest of what could have been a lopsided third inning for Australia.
There's a grounder from Kennelly. Shortstop Lee makes the play. 2 down.
And making now 6 straight retired, including a double play with that spin. So give the Hanwha pitchers a ton of credit for the way that they bounced back, thrown a few more strikes here this afternoon than they did yesterday. Again, completely different pitching schedule and pitching arsenal this afternoon than we saw yesterday, but that's just part of the spring training component.
Aaron Whitefield singled and scored his last time up. Made a nice running catch in center field as well. Outside corner just misses. Ball 2. 2-2 is the score, and just a reminder, if the score stays like this through 9 innings, it will finish like this. We are playing 9 innings, and that's it. No extra innings. That's a grounder to third. Scooped up by Rowe. Throw to first. 1, 2, 3 inning. Just like that. Nice work from Kim Ki-jung. Score remains 2-2 as we head to the bottom of the 5th inning. That, my friend, is the 12 Apostles. The Great Ocean Road is one of the great roads of the world, taking iconic surf breaks, pristine rainforest, misty waterfalls along this spectacular Great Ocean Road. It's 150 miles, 240 Ks along the winding coastline that's overlooking the dramatic beaches of the Southern Ocean and the Bass Strait. Literally one of the world's most breathtaking routes by car, plane, or foot. Great Ocean Road takes panoramic views to a new level. Absolutely magnificent part of the world. As is Melbourne Ballpark, one of the magnificent places on the sporting landscape. There's a Hanwha Eagles hat. Plenty of those floating around.
Might be a few years before it fits him, but
it doesn't matter.
That'll be a good one for the closet whenever it comes time.
Absolutely right. Now we're going to have a look at Cohen Wynn on the mound. Young Sydney Blue Sox pitcher, kind of a surprise addition, not this year, but just to the national team in general. 4 years at Grand Canyon University in the States. A couple of years with the Sydney Blue Sox as a bright young prospect.
New pitcher for Team Australia is Cohen Wynn.
Yeah, and I think that everybody was a little bit surprised if you followed Cohen Wynn's story over the last couple of years to see him. I don't want to say surprised to get here, but to see his ascent.
Yeah.
And just flat out reliable for Sydney over the last couple of years. And, it might not be for Cohen Wynn, and the numbers might not be the most shut-down baseball you've ever seen. But when you have a guy who you can count on for 5-6 innings every time he goes out there, and he'll pitch to an ERA just above 4, that's what you're looking for, right? A guy like Cohen Wynn, when he started for Sydney, has simply given the Blue Sox a chance to win. And last year with Sydney 3-5 with a 4.13 ERA, 10 starts. Those 10 starts, that's that number for an ABL starter. That means you pitched and at least started in every game that you were supposed to in a 10-round regular season.
He'll face Lee Do-yoon, the shortstop. Flew out to center field. Talked about that great play that Aaron Whitefield made. That was in the 3rd inning. So it's 2-2 We were in the bottom of the 5th. Hanwha is the home team today. Fouled away by Lee. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Cohen Wynn was teammates with Brisbane's Brody Cooper Vasilakis when he pitched collegiately at Grand Canyon University, an up-and-coming Division I baseball program there in Phoenix.
Well, that's lined right up the middle, past Wynn. And it's a base hit for Lee Do-yoon.
Sharp single, and Wynn tried to intervene, but couldn't quite do so. So a leadoff single in the 5th inning, but GCU has really become a pretty impressive Division I team there in Phoenix. Cohen Wynn, a big part of that. Another look here. Just left that one a little bit too far out of the plate, elevated as well. And Lee Do-yoon with a single, his first hit of this showdown.
Brings up Choi Jae-hoon, the DH. That bat shatters. Look at that. Just exploded. Some of the fans here. Watch this. Bang. It's left with a toothpick.
God, you love that. I mean, that leg kick, though, that stride is patented in Korean hitters, and love that.
That's sky high foul down the right field line.
But anyways, Cohen Wynn played under head coach Andy Stankiewicz, who basically built that Grand Canyon University program into what it has become. Then he took the job at Southern California. So he went to one of the most prestigious baseball programs in college baseball history. Southern Cal, most College World Series championships all time. But Cohen Wynn, also a guy who grew up watching the likes of Mariano Rivera, so he knew he wanted to pitch by watching Rivera throw. And he was also inspired by Grant Balfour, one of the all-time Aussie greats.
Oh, yeah.
Who was part of that 1999 Intercontinental Cup team.
Fun to watch, Grant Balfour.
Yep.
A little bit on the edge, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
But
kind of have to be a 15-year major league reliever, right?
Exactly.
Those guys are not normal.
Yeah.
But outside.
Missed. Yep.
But Cohen Wynn also said one of his favorite athletes to watch growing up was Shane Warne.
Yeah.
A famous cricket bowler who's got a stand named after him at the MCG now.
And one of the iconic Australian sportsmen, athletes of all time.
Also a unique personality.
Unbelievable personality. Just a magician, too. One of those guys that, you know, he's a Michael Jordan-esque figure in Australian sports, Shane Warne. One and two, Wynn continuing to throw back. Keep Lee honest at first. There is some action in the Team Australia bullpen, or at least some stirring out there. It might be John Kennedy.
Now, Wynn also played Aussie rules football at Patrician Brothers College before he played collegiate baseball.
It's a slow grounder that is going to stay fair. Darryl waited for a long time. Now there's a play. Third hits the runner. He's going to be safe, and bit of a mess there. I think Darryl George thought, and he was in a tough spot. It was a really slow roll. He was sort of hoping it would go foul, but it stayed fair. And by the time he realized that, there was no way he could make the play on Choi at first. So runners at the corners for Hanwha.
Well, it's kind of a tough play for Darryl because I think what you want to do is wait as long as you possibly can. But that ball looked like it was going to stay fair, and you have to be wary, too. You can't just sit there and let it roll as long as possible because, you know, what happens if that hits the base and bounds a little further into foul territory? Who knows? I don't know if it would have gotten there, but I think Lee Do-yoon, a little fortunate. That was aggressive base running, would have paid off in the end. And a lot happening. And after all that, runners on the corners with nobody out, and Hanwha with a chance to take the lead.
It's Lee Jin-yong Singled his last time up in the third inning. He's got a chance to bring in a run here. Outside, ball 2. 2-0. It's in the dirt. So quick 3-0 count on Lee with the dangerous Jonathan Perlaza on deck. Pitch. Strike one. I think he actually swung at ball 4, to be honest there. But Colin Wayne will take that.
Looked like one of those swings where about halfway through you could read the body language, and he was like, wish I had that one back.
So it's 3-1 now. Runners on the corners, no outs. Swing and a miss. Good pitch from Wynn. It's right back in this thing now. The count's 3-2.
It's kind of stuff that a guy like Colin Wynn does really well too, right? You fall behind, tough spot, runners on the corners, nobody out, bottom of the 5th. 3-0 count. Now you're right back in it. Desperate need of a strikeout. You got a chance to get one right here.
Runner going. Hit sharply to Darryl George. He's going to come home. He's sort of delayed, and they got him, though. And now a run down between second and third, and they've got him. Just what the doctor ordered. A very quirky double play. But Team Australia will take it.
Well, the guys in the Hanwha dugout are just kind of looking up and down the railing as if to say, what was that? Because take your pick on where there was a miscue on that play. It started with the runner taking off the second, and then a rocket off the bat, a fastball grooved. George got there. I think that's a mistake from Lee Do-Yoon. Now, kind of tough to tell. Neither one of us really played the game, so perhaps the smarter baseball minds could tell you one way or the other where the issue there first surfaced. And so you get the runner caught up between home and third, but Choi Jae-hoon getting caught between second and third is inexcusable in a situation like that. And saw the body language from my spot on Choi Won-ho, the second-year skipper for the Eagles, and he didn't really move. And that's one of the – you're almost happy you see it in spring training because those are the very teachable moments in a game like this.
Wow.
And, all of a sudden, Cohen Wynn and the Aussies presented with a get-out-of-jail-free card. Runners on the corners, nobody out, has turned in a runner at first with 2 down. Nobody across here at the bottom of the 5th.
It's insane play. Anxious to see how you score that one, Michael. That's hit sharply to first. Easy play for Rickson Wingrove. And just like that, Cohen Wynn, easy as can be, gets out of trouble. We'll head to the top of the 6th inning. We are tied at 2, Team Australia and the Hanwha Eagles.
Well, we do have Eric Balnar somewhere once again roaming the ballpark, and let's go down the first base line. Here he is.
I'm down here with a man who knows a lot about Korean and Australian baseball. This is Parker. Now, Parker has been helping coordinate the Hanwha Eagles here at spring training. Now, Parker, first off, how have the Eagles enjoyed their spring training experience?
Based on the feedback that I got from the coaching staff and the players, it's been highly positive, especially the weather, because it's more stable than in the States, and also because it's cold in Korea, they enjoy having time in Australia with the warm weather now.
And is that one of the reasons they chose Melbourne to come here, because of the weather and the proximity?
Exactly. And also, one thing I want to say is that a time difference is only 2 hours. And in the United States, it's around 7 hours. So that's why they have decided to come down to Australia for baseball training.
And what does a typical day look like for spring training for a team like Hanwha?
Yeah, this time they decided to do
That's,
afternoon
hard
training
shoe
instead
suit.
of night training
Yeah.
to take advantage
Is that
of
right?
this
Yeah.
good weather. So they wake up at 9 in the morning and do the weight training at a hotel, and they do like 5 to 7 hours intense training at the ballpark. Thanks to the support from the Melbourne Aces management, they've been so happy and also satisfied with the quality of the training here.
Now, the Korean links with Australia are amazing, and Parker exemplifies it because Parker helped coordinate some players from the Samsung Lions back in November who played with the Adelaide Giants. Now, it's a different story with Samsung. How did Samsung and other Korean teams like sending players to Australia in the ABL?
Australia at the moment is getting more recognized by Korean baseball teams and organizations because of the Team Australia at an international level has been performing really well, and also thanks to GK being exposed to the ABL. Now a lot of teams and Korean baseball industry have been paying attention to ABL for developing their players and also get them exposed to global baseball experience.
Parker, thanks so much for your answers. One more question for you. It's a curveball, actually, about the fans here. Have the Hanwha Eagles players enjoyed seeing people fly from Korea to come to these games to watch them play?
Exactly, yeah, because there are not many Korean people living in Melbourne. They are so happy seeing the crowd and interact with Korean players in their language. That's why they've been so happy to meet and also have been greeting a lot with them. Yeah.
This is Parker. He lives in Melbourne. He helps organize a lot of things between links with Korea and Australian baseball. Parker, thanks for all you do and thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me, Eric.
Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Eric Belnar. Great to see the Korean community involved in this very special series. And we've got some wholesale fielding changes that we'll get to in a second as Rickson Wingrove lines a single. Nice greeting for the new pitcher, Han Sung-ju. Rickson Wingrove on first with his second hit of the night.
That's the first base runner since the 2-run single from George in the third. And how about the 2 games that Rickson has had in front of his family? 4 hits and a walk. He's reached base 5 times. He's reached all 3 times here this afternoon. And the first pitch thrown by number 59. And Han Sung-ju is a leadoff single here in the 6th.
Brings up Darryl George, single and a strikeout. Singled in those runs in the 3rd inning. So the big news is that Kim In-hwan, who had played all 9 yesterday, has been taken out. There is no conspiracy theory. There is no need to worry about why he hasn't been taken out because he has been taken out.
Well, all he had to do was hit the
home run,
390-foot home run.
Top of the 6th inning, 2-2, Team Australia, Hanwha Eagles from Melbourne Ballpark. Thank you for watching wherever you are, whatever platform you are watching us on. Ed Wyatt and Michael Dixon with you. Unless things change, it's going to be our last game of the year, or the season, I should say. That's curveball popped up down the left field line. That's going to be a tough play if it stays in, which it does, and almost making the play down there, and I hope he's all right. We're going to get a look down there, just dusting himself off. That is, I think, the new shortstop, Michael.
Yeah, we'll try and get you that name as soon as we can.
Let's see if we watch this again. Pop up from Darryl George in there. You can see, look at this effort here. And he gets a glove on it at the last minute, but just can't hold on to it.
Yeah, very difficult play in the end.
It's a heck of an effort by, not sure who that is. We'll find out.
That is number 95, Hwang Young Muk.
Thank you. Super play. Just couldn't close the glove on it. George grounds that foul. 3-2 pitch, runner on first. George grounds that weakly to first, looked at the double play opportunity, but was too late. So Kim Tae-yoon just turns around and touches first base, 1 away. Wingrove moves down to second.
Looks like Haju Suk has taken over at third. Moon Hyun Bin is in left field. Trying to get these changes to you as soon as we can. A lot happening though, Ed.
Tons.
New catcher, by the way, as well, is number 96, Chang Koo Hyun.
So wholesale changes, in fact, every position. Here's Alex Hall, the catcher. Walked, grounded into a double play. Swing and a miss. Strike one. Wingrove is on second, 1 out. 2-2 ball game. Ball 1-1. Grounded foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Alex Hall. Doing the catching today. Logan Wade on deck. Bottom of the order, Michael. Really struggling today.
Yeah, it's been that way.
6 strikeouts. That's a swing and a miss, and Hall goes down swinging. 2 down. Here's Logan Wade, struck out looking in the second, grounded out in the fourth.
Next to that, Team Australia, Logan Wade.
It's a nice little Arizona Diamondbacks World Series shirt, Ed.
Nice. So bottom 5, 0 for 10. 7 strikeouts. So that's a real testament to the pitching.
Yeah, done a
of
very
this
good job.
Hanwha Eagles club, and that's popped up. Wade should be playable. Third baseman Ha Ju Suk, no. Shortstop Mook makes the play. Hwang Young Mook. And the Aces, or the first time I said it, Team Australia. Team Australia gets a hit, but can't score a run, and we'll head to the bottom of the 6th, still locked 2-2. There is a beautiful Melbourne, the heart of the city, lying along the banks of the Yarra River. Got some rowing, some waterside running and cycle paths. The city's sporting precincts and stadiums. Talked about that. Taylor Swift with some enormous crowds this weekend. There's the always interesting Federation Square crown with the gas plumes flying up in the air. And here's some of the crowd as Gangnam Style gets a run again. Good crowd here for a Sunday afternoon, seeing a very entertaining game. And we are heading to the bottom of the 6th inning. Still 2-2, and I believe we've got ourselves another pitching change. This time it's Team Australia. And it looks like Josh Geyer has come on to pitch, another Sydney Blue Sox pitcher.
Still trying to get caught up with some of these changes
with
Hanwha.
Well, we'll see him when they come to the plate.
Yes.
That's the one bonus.
It does appear as if Lee Sung Hayuk, who took over in right field, will perhaps lead things off. Maybe not. We'll see. I have no idea. No clue. I know that these people are having fun, and that's all that matters. And we're having fun, too, and that's all that matters.
We are indeed. So this is, if I get it right, it looks like number 64 is coming up to bat. Michael, just have a look at that. Moon Hyun Bin. And that's right, he was in left field, so this will be him.
Wait for it. Can't see us, but we're currently dancing. We love this. Yes, you're right. Moon Hyun Bin. Outstanding young second-year Eagle.
First pitch outside for a ball. That's hit down the left field line. That's going to be trouble. Boyarsky over makes a really nice play, but it's not going to be enough to get the fairly speedy Moon, who's in with a double.
Well, he took over for Lee Myung-ki, who had that fortuitous leadoff double in the fourth, but there was nothing fortuitous about that. Ripped down the left field line into the corner, and so work for Josh Geyer to do to try and keep this game tied at 2 in the bottom of the 6th. And that's a two-seamer running away. Moon makes no mistake and drills that one down the left field line.
He does, and now here's the replacement third baseman, Ha-Ju Suk. Stepping in for Ro Shi-hwan. Last we'll see of him until, I guess, the start of the KBO season. Unless we watch some exhibition games where they're playing a Japanese team or somebody else. I'm not sure, but been a treat to watch him play.
Well, the KBO had a deal with ESPN. That was really the first sport I can remember that we could watch again when the KBO returned, playing in front of no fans back in the spring of 2020. And we'd stay up till 3, 4 in the morning to watch some of those games.
Yeah, over here, it was during the lockdown. You're right. It was Belarus Soccer is a league that continued to play. The KBO played. And I think then maybe the K-League as well, the Korean Soccer League. But, yeah, strange times, no doubt about it. 3-0 count here on Ha. That's a strike. Was taking that all the way. Outside corner, strike 2. Nice pitch from Geyer. So full count now, 3-2. Runner on second is Moon. No outs. And that's lined into center field. Whitefield over. Moon is being sent home. Here comes the throw to the plate. Not in time. Hanwha take a 3-2 lead on the single from Ha-Ju Suk.
Yeah, it's so tough going for Geyer. First 2 reach. Starts with a double. And just a simple ground ball up the middle. That's what Hanwha's done a great job of in this 2-game set. Not trying to do too much. And that bleeds right through the middle of both Wade and Dale. No chance for Aaron Whitefield, even though he came up throwing home. And Hanwha, after a 2-1 win yesterday, has a 3-2 lead in the bottom of the 6th this afternoon.
So here's Kim Tae-yoon. Now, we thought he was replaced at second. Potentially, has he stayed in as a DH?
He has stayed in, I believe, at first base.
Right. That's hit towards Whitefield. He'll make the play. No chance for a double up, but another solid play from Whitey out there in center field, 1 away. There's another substitution now. Jean.
Yeah, this is Jean Won, who takes over at second base.
Good pitch. Looks at a strike. So he's at second, and Kim Tae-yoon has shifted from second to first to replace Kim In-won. Gotcha. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out.
Quite a bit happening.
We're doing our best. Keep track of it. That's hit sharply into right. That's a nice hit.
Well, that 6th spot for Hanwha today has been pretty darn good with a couple of singles and a solo home run. And this sharply hit over there into right field. Fastball elevated from Geyer. And Jean, in his first plate appearance of this second game, has a base hit, 2 on, 1 out.
Next up, Chang Kyu-hyun now steps in for his first at-bat tonight.
And he is taken over behind the plate.
Yep. Outside, ball 1, 1-1. Runners on first and second, 3-2 Hanwha. Bottom of the 6th inning. They are the home team today. Good pitch outside corner, strike 2. That gets away from Hall. And the runners are going to move up to second and third. So danger time here for Team Australia.
Yeah, you would think. I mean, still some outs left to play with, but infield comes in because you can't really afford to give much more up than just the 1.
Can we dial up a strange double play again?
You asked for it.
It misses outside.
Strikeout would also help.
Certainly would. 3-2 now. He's going to put him on, bases loaded. So Geyer struggling.
Not the worst idea to be a little careful there. You do have first base open after the wild pitch, so now you have a huge moment. The base is full, 1 out, and here is the replacement. Second baseman, shortstop, I should say, in Hwang Young-buk, and a visit from the third base dugout, and a mid-inning pitching change for the first time in this 2-game showdown. So Australian pitching change brought to you by 4-20. And Josh Geyer with a frustrating outing. He's given up the go-ahead run. He exits responsible for all 3 runners on base, and we'll see who comes in for Team Australia. And the biggest moment, highest leverage moment of this 2-game showcase so far.
I think it's our old friend John Kennedy, if I'm not mistaken, or am I wrong? No, it isn't John Kennedy. You're right. Not as tall.
Not quite.
No.
Few people are as tall as the
exactly.
6'8" of
No, you're absolutely right.
John Kennedy. And that would be number 11, Dan McGraw. So Dan McGraw takes over. 29 years of age from Melbourne. Longtime ace turned Adelaide Giant this most recent ABL season.
Good timing, right? To become a Giant.
They won a couple of Claxton Shields with Melbourne and just won Claxton Shield with Adelaide. The Giants going back-to-back. McGraw was not part of that first team, but 7-13 with a 5.03 ERA in his ABL career, but a long affiliated career. And 7 seasons with the Boston Red Sox organization. How about this? 500 record, 35-35, but 362 MILB ERA and 166 outings, 107 starts. And here he is to try and navigate a very tough jam. 3-2 our score in the bottom of the 6th, but the base is full. And again, this Australia pitching change brought to you by 4-20. Here's a look at some of the fans who have braved the elements, must I say. And by that I mean 75, 25 degrees and sunny.
Brave the elements.
Real tough crowd out there. Huh?
Day. So you're right, big spot here for Dan McGraw. Bases loaded. And that's a great way to start. With a strike, 1 out. And Huang Young Moot at the plate. That's hit down the left field line. Not going to say anything till I see it's clearly out of play. Some tricky plays down the left field line, but that is out of play down by the Cyclone Tool Shed here in Melbourne Ballpark. And we will do it again. Quick 2 strikes on Huang.
And Park Sung-un is the DH on deck, so he'll make his first appearance in Game 2.
McGraw to Huang, that's high, ball 1.
Middle infield looking for a double play ball. That would help. A strikeout would help too. There's how we got there. 2 from the Aussies in the 3rd, 2 from Hanwha in the 4th, 1 in the 6th. 2 balls, 2 strikes now here to Huang.
2-2.
A little bit concerning too for Team Australia. All of a sudden that hit total pretty lopsided and Hanwha's favored 9-4.
Yeah. It's a grounder. Going to be a tough play. The only play, in fact, is at first. So a run scores. The runner at first is out. And Hanwha will have men on 2nd and 3rd with 2 outs.
And do get that all-important insurance run with Ha scoring from 3rd. So John goes to 3rd. Chang now at 2nd. That run charged to Josh Geyer. With McGraw trying to work through the rest of this inning. Still some work to do, and here is Park Sung-un.
Misses high and outside. So 4-2 Hanwha. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning. McGraw still not out of danger with runners at 2nd and 3rd. And Park Sung-un at the plate. Swing and a miss. Good pitch. It's fouled out of play. 2 strikes on Park. Shot of the Team Australia dugout. Oh, little check swing foul that just about did a little damage there on the on-deck circle. Some fans now improvising, trying to get a ball with some kind of stick, and they got
it.
There's a great pitch from McGraw. He thought he had that one.
How many
did not get it?
How many times have we seen fans try that and fail? And, of course, all this brought to you by Sportscast Australia. providing all the sights and sounds from Melbourne Ballpark, not just this weekend, but all season.
Swing and a miss. Nice job, Dan McGraw. But Hanwha Eagles get a couple of runs, and they lead it 4-2 as we head to the top of the 7th inning. Now that's Wilson's Promontory National Park. Been there a long time ago. I had a camp out there. Michael, beautiful spot. And there's a mysterious and untouched island there called Skull Rock, which I believe yesterday you claimed that you would climb.
I would try to.
You know what? Fewer people have walked on the surface of that rock than have walked on the surface of the moon. It's a protected area, not open to the public, almost impossible to scale from the water. So I am skeptical that you will be able to do that.
I'm skeptical too, but sometimes you just got to believe in yourself, Ed. And so I don't know. Maybe I'll take a photo from the top of Skull Rock, send it to you.
Would you believe me if I told you there's a pitching change?
I would, because that would mean that Hanwha, of course, in the middle of spring training, playing the what would be, off the top of my head, 16th inning of this two-game showdown. They would have their 16th pitcher on the mound. Michael Dixon, Ed Wyatt saying hello from Altona. All the folks enjoying what is a glorious Sunday afternoon here in Altona. And Hanwha trying to get to the finish line now. And left-hander on the mound.
Hwang Jun Seo, number 29. He's an 18-year-old. He was a number 1 pick out of Jangchung High School. 3 years of high school, 132 strikeouts, 34 walks, 1.93 ERA. And as you know, Korean and Japanese high school baseball, very, very good.
Yep. And they're obviously very high about this young 18-year-old. He'll face Boyarski, McCardle, and Dale, 4-2. Hanwha on top, out-hitting Team Australia 10-4 now through the first 6 innings this afternoon. Let's see if Australia can get a spark going. Left-hander out of the one. First pitch high in the air to the left field line, but hooking, and it's foul.
Oh.
Right size, wrong shape. Strike number 1.
He's due as well, Boyarski.
Well, Hwang, as you mentioned, the first overall pick this most recent season. $250,000 U.S. with a signing bonus. And Hanwha with huge hopes for this teenage phenom. 0-1. A little bit low. And Hanwha selected Hwang Jun Seo. It really set the precedent for the rest of the first round in that most recent KBO draft. And each of the first 9 picks were pitchers. Wasn't until that 10th and final pick of the first round that a position player went. And Hwang Jun Seo went number 1 overall, but that was after the consensus number 1 pick. And John Hyun-suk signed with the LA Dodgers and therefore skipped the KBO draft. So if Jean had not signed with the Dodgers, a very real chance with Hwang right behind him, going number 1 overall, that the top 10 picks, each
would all be pitchers.
Of the first round picks would have been pitchers, yeah.
Amazing.
Some confusion there. I thought that was a 3-ball count. It was. So Boyarski walks, perhaps some nerves for young Hwang Jun-seo.
First walk in a while, since the 3rd inning.
It is. A couple of walks in that 3rd inning. That was the half inning in which Australia took a 2-0 lead, but 2 from Hanwha in the 4th, 2 in the 6th, and the Eagles have a 4-2 lead. And here is big Jordan McCardle. First pitch. Big swing and a miss. By the way, Hwang Jun-seo big fan of Josh Hader. That's his role model. And, of
Right.
course, Hader just signed a record deal for a reliever, a 5-year contract with the Houston Astros. And a called strike number 2. Hader, surprisingly, a couple of years back, traded at the deadline from Milwaukee to San Diego when the Brewers basically just gave up their closer. And Hader with San Diego eventually found a home in Houston this offseason. 0-2. Fouled back. McCardo low for 2 with a couple of strikeouts. Tying run here in the 7th inning. And we are tied 4-2. Or I beg your pardon, Hanwha with a 4-2 lead. 0-2. Popped him up. Who's got it? And the shortstop Huang backs up, comes in. Out number 1. That brings up Jared Dale. 1 on, 1 out, 4-2. And the top of the 7th. And Dale 0 for 2, 1 for 6 in this showdown.
Really is interesting, isn't it? This very lean Team Australia roster and this huge spring training roster. Hanwha couldn't be more opposite, really.
Thanks for a unique setting here at Melbourne Ballpark.
Well, I was just kind of thinking, does Dave Nielsen throw in a pinch hitter at some point and mix things up? He doesn't really have that many people available, which is the complete opposite of Hanwha. They've got 2 entire teams playing here today.
Dale with a ground out in the 3rd, struck out in the 5th. Boyarski at first. 1-1. Fouled back to the right.
Another challenge for those fans with a long stick.
Perhaps. There's another look at that pitch that Chung had blocked behind the plate. Ball that bounced a couple of feet in front of him. One, 2. Fouled back once again. Well, you can see the velocity, the mechanics for this young left-hander, Hong Jian-seo. There's got to be, I would think, even in a spring training game, a little bit nervous to be pitching at this level. They've got such high hopes for this young lefty. One, 2. Fouled back. Talk about the Houston Astros and Josh Hader. It's kind of the model that Hanwha is trying to follow right now, where the Astros had lost 100-plus games in 3 consecutive years, and now it feels like they can't stop going to the ALCS, and they've won a couple of World Series. After building through the draft and then supplementing those picks with some free agent deals. It's basically what Hanwha is in the process of doing right now. But Jared Dale has his 2nd hit of this showdown. And there are 2 on with 1 out. Top of the order coming through for a 4th time. And here is the all-time ABL great Tim Cannelli with 62 ABL home runs, and he represents the go-ahead run and the top of the 7th. Cannelli 0 for 2 with a walk this afternoon. 1 for 5 with a couple of walks in the showdown altogether. Middle infield trying to turn 2. Cannelli would be a tough one to turn 2 against. And he takes off speed. Strike number 1 up in the zone. Two on, 1 out, 1 strike. Left on right. This Swing and a miss, and now the young lefty had 0-2. By the way, Kennelly, assuming that he makes his ABL debut in 2024-25 for that season, of course, longtime ABL player. That'll be career game number 1,000 for him as a pro.
Unbelievable.
Stuck on $9.99 right now. 0-2. Cold strike 3.
Ouch.
Kennelly down looking. And that is a confidence-building moment for Hwang Jo-so. Number 1 overall pick. You can see how young he looks. And he gets the call on that lower outside corner from home plate umpire Ryan Harder. So now it comes down to Aaron Whitefield in this 7th inning. Whitey 1 for 3 with a single and a run scored, and he takes just a little bit low for ball 1. Whitefield does have 3 career home runs at this ballpark, and representing the go-ahead run in the top of the 7th. Boyarski at second, Dale at first. 4-2 Hanwha. 1 ball, 1 strike now to Whitefield. Whitefield getting ready to head back overseas, and he'll call Sioux Falls, South Dakota home for the upcoming American Summer in the American Association.
So will you run into him?
Many times, yeah.
Great. Couldn't think of a nicer guy to run into, to be honest.
1-1. Found back the other way. Yes, the Salt Dogs and Canaries play mini games against one another. Whitefield last year began the season with Kansas City, and then about midway through the year, found his way to Sioux Falls. Hwang ready, and the 1-2. Rounded over to second base. And John with it flips to first, inning over. No harm done. And the first big boy inning for the number 1 overall pick, Hwang Jo-so. And he gets through it unscathed with a couple of runners left on base. So we will keep it right here with myself and Ed Wyatt. And Ed, as the 7th inning stretch is being sung. Actually, check that. We do have an interview down the left field line. So let's go to Eric Balno, who's standing by with a very familiar face down the left field line.
Hey guys, I'm down here with, or trying to get up here with Graham Lloyd. Just going to try to get on your level, maybe on my tippy toes. Lloydie, you're hanging out here in the bullpen here. Numbers dwindling back here. A lot of pitchers have been used. First off, what's your role with Team Australia?
Well, it's just to make sure these guys are ready when they come in, and hopefully make sure that you give them all the information and data that you need to get the hitters that are coming up.
I mean, the guys have talked about, the players and the guys in the broadcast booth. Jim Bennett's talked about everybody needing to be ready at all times, different situations. That's obviously a big mentality with this team.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the things where we think that we're going to put the guy out there that we think is going to succeed for the team, and I think that's the major thing. We make sure that we know who we got coming up, and then we put in the pitchers that we think are going to get the job done.
Now, personally, I mean, you had obviously a great career in the major leagues, and you've come back, and now you're coaching players here. You were with, even in Tokyo recently, you and I were there with the under-24 team as well. Do you get a bit of a kick giving back and helping pitchers and players learn?
I mean, it's exciting for me. It's great, and as everyone said, it's great to be playing back on home soil. And no, it's exciting, and it's great to see next generations coming through, and hopefully you can impart a little bit of knowledge and help along the way. That's that's my job here.
Because you got a couple big games on home soil here as a player, didn't you?
A couple on home soil. Which ones were those?
Yeah, you got to play in a couple big games, I've heard.
Here and there, but I mean, it's the big thing is playing for Australia or coaching for Australia. It's an exciting, wonderful thing to do.
Yep, and then and finally, what's been just your message to the group here and what they're trying to take away from playing a team like the Hanwha Eagles?
Well, when you play, great competition, it's always, you learn from it, and we try and get better.
Well, a bit of action behind us on the field, so we'll go back to you guys. Thanks, Graham Lloyd.
Cheers, Eric.
Fly ball out number 1 from
they're keen to do.
Leadoff
like
man in Hanwha's bottom of the 7th.
Johan Min.
Yep.
Flying out to Kennelly in right field, one away. Great to see Graham Lloyd, obviously a couple of World Series wins with the Yankees. And also, I know I keep saying this, one of the great guys around the ballpark.
Now here is Lee Sung-hyuk. 4-2 in the bottom of the 7th inning. 4 unanswered runs for Hanwha. Dan McGraw back out for the 7th. Got the final 2 outs in the 6th, but that was a 6th inning in which the Eagles scored a couple and now have a 2-run lead. 2 balls and 1 strike to count. There's a look at, there we go. It only took a chair for Eric to surpass Lloydie's height. World Series champion with the Yankees in the late 90s.
Also coached, managed Geelong, Korea, so he's got that Korean relationship as well. There's some whispers about them rejoining the league at some point, but really I have no idea, I'll be honest with you. Enjoyed it, I must say.
A foul ball. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Nobody on. 4-2 in the bottom of the 7th inning. Well, I guess the issue is the math. You would probably need to add a second team along with GK.
Correct.
2-2. And that's a little bit low. 3 balls and 2 strikes. You could run with a 7-team league, but it does make for
nobody wants
a schedule.
Buy,
yeah,
be
I mean, it'd be tough.
Nah.
Payoff pitch. Rolled to second, right at Jared Dale. And there are 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th inning. So, Lee Sung-hyuk retired. And McGraw has now retired all 4 batters he's faced. By the way, there's a look at the field number 3 that was constructed for Hanwha as part of their arrangement to come out here. Can only get so close before I think the camera runs out of range. So, see it behind the dirt mounds, but...
And see that pile of rocks there?
Yes.
I understand you picked up the majority of those.
Not a majority. I did a minority of the work, but I did, in a few days, I did do some more heavy lifting. That's tucked past Darryl George, and Moon Hyun Bin around first. Legging for second. Throw comes in. A tag is there, but he's safe. And a 2-out double. Here in the 7th inning,
That's 2 doubles in a row for him. And if you watch this back, we'll get a look at this. Boyarsky has a little bit of trouble picking up. I think if he picks that up cleanly the way he normally does, Moon's out at second. It was already a super close play. Let's have a look.
So it's similar to what he did earlier, too. It just goes the other way. And throw came in with Dale waiting. Without question in there safely. So it's a 2-out double to keep this 7th inning alive for Haju Suk, the third baseman, with an RBI single in the game. And now behind the count, 0-2. 2 outs, runner at second. How about the 3-hole for the Eagles this afternoon? 3 for 4 with 3 doubles.
That's true.
A combination of Lee Myung-ki and Moon Hyun Bin. Look overhead.
Great shot.
Field number 3. In fact, when they finally got that field up and running to its full capacity, and they had a game out there, it was a under 12 game, so youth game with shortened base paths, but it was the first game on that diamond in 20 years. Soft ground ball to third. Tough play for Darryl George. Strong throw across, but it is not in time. And a soft contact single for Haju Suk. They're on the corners with 2 outs. And the 3- and 4-hole hitters for Hanwha now combined 6 for 8 here this afternoon.
It's like looking at a poker game. Double, double, double. Single, single, single. It's unbelievable.
And this continues now for Kim Tae-yoon. Kim Tae-yoon stayed in.
Yeah, he's today's Kim In-hwan, isn't he? He's going to stay in for the whole game.
Throw to first, and they've got him caught off the bag.
McGraw.
Now you got to try and apply the tag quickly. He evades the tag, and a run scores. Wingrove can't believe it. But somehow, Haju Suk gets out of the rundown, and Moon Hyun Ben scampers in from third.
I think the Aces are saying he's out of the base path to avoid that tag. Great work from McGraw to get that pickoff play.
Now the umpires are going to come together, I suppose, and talk about this, or no?
Dave Nielsen's coming out. He's going to have his say. The big fella.
Well, the baseline is always a very difficult rule to try and explain. And the baseline at this point is defined by a straight line created by the runner. And I think he's very clearly out of that imaginary line between first and second. And that's exactly what Rickson Wingrove's saying.
Yeah.
Because in theory, right here, with him out of the line, it makes it very difficult for Logan Wade to apply the tag. And that gives Moon Hyun Ben plenty of time to score from third. And we haven't really seen a whole lot of ire from either dugout because this is just a two-game exhibition series. But when you're talking about the direct application of the rules, that's where Dave Nielsen would say, hey, we're trying here as best we can. And
yeah, so he was
on very clearly out of the base path.
On the green, isn't he?
Yeah.
Which is clearly out of the base path, at least as far as our eyes concerned. There goes Dave. He's made his point. Don't think it got him anywhere, but he tried.
So that, even after the mistake from Haju Suk, should have been out. That's a stolen base. And a steal of home for Moon Hyun Ben. So 5-2 now in the bottom of the seventh. Swing and a miss for Kim Tae-yoon. But again, it's all about where that imaginary line is established by the runner between either first and second or second and third. I suppose you also have between the plate and both first and third base, but that's at least a little more concrete. Up to the imagination between first and second and third. And I think Team Australia, without question, had an argument there. But we play on, and now Hanwha with a 5-2 lead. Out hitting the Aussies 12-5. 2 balls and 1 strike. Count now to Kim Tae-yoon, 0 for 3 in this game. I think they'd be happy with what they've seen, though, Ed, with first couple of games of spring training. Got to work out the kinks. And Hanwha doing exactly that. Runner takes for third. The pitch high, throw down to third. Tag there, but he's safe.
It's a nice jump there from Ha.
Bang, bang play. Darryl George had the glove down. A couple of stolen bases for Haju Suk, and now he's 90 feet away.
He's made
a
full
full count
impact,
upcoming.
Hasn't
Yep.
he? Jeez.
A big swing and a miss down to his feet, or knees, shall I say. Goes Kim Tae-yoon, and a strikeout for McGraw, his second in relief. The inning is over, but Hanwha adds a run, and it's 5-2 as we go to the 8th inning here at Melbourne Ballpark. And yet another chance for Ed to give us some information about some of the surrounding areas here in Melbourne.
I am Mr. Melbourne, of course, and one of the things that you will notice when you visit here is the hidden laneways scattered throughout the city center and surrounding neighborhoods. A great destination both for locals and for visitors alike. It's become just one of those ever-changing and thought-provoking places. Street art, world-class restaurants, eclectic collection of galleries and boutiques, and of course cafes. What would Melbourne be without cafes that deliver outstanding coffee? Great places to hang out. Here we go. There's our man, Todd Van Steensel, getting ready to come in. I earlier was about to say to you, Michael, do you think they're going to give Van Steensel a run here, even though it's not really a closing situation? It looks like they may indeed do that.
Well, we do have a new pitcher, go figure, for
Do we really?
the Hanwha Eagles, and it is Han Sung-hyuk who takes over. In the 8th inning. And the Aussies trailing 5-2. It does indeed look like Van Steensel will make an appearance in this game.
I thought they might, just to get him out there.
So Rickson Wingrove, who was upset with that controversial play between first and second in the bottom of the seventh. It was not his tag, but it was a play he was involved in. And if you weren't watching, it was a controversial play because it did indeed look like Haju Suk ran out of the baseline. There's a rip into right field and a base hit down for Rickson Wingrove. So, results aside, still some outs for Australia to play with, but the couple of games that Rickson Wingrove has had in front of his family members here have just been ridiculous.
3 for 3 today with
and a walk. I mean, goodness. A couple of hits yesterday, and let's see if Daryl George can try and tighten things up with Hong Sung Hyuk on the mound. But that play between first and second directly resulted in a run. And it's why Hanwha leads now 5-2 with 5 unanswered. Daryl George in this game is 1 for 3 with a 2-run single. That came back in the third, but Hanwha with 5 unanswered runs since. 5 runs on 12 hits for Hanwha, 2 runs, 6 hits for Australia. And that stroke to left center field. That is down for a base hit. This is all the way to the base of the wall. Wingrove up to third. He is held there. Daryl George with a double, 2 in scoring position, nobody out here at the top of the 8th.
There we go. Got this crowd jumping a bit, Michael.
That is the first extra base hit for Australia this afternoon. And let's see what Alex Hall can do.
There's a look at that double from Daryl. Sweet swing, kind of lifts that up into left center, all the way to the fence. Wingrove wisely held up there at third. George easily into second.
Now here's a chance, tying run at the plate. And you don't necessarily need a 3-run swing right here from Alex Hall. You'd love it. But just getting those 2 runs in scoring position in and tightening things up has to be at the forefront of the Australian dugout right now. 1-0. Strike number 1 on the outside corner.
So this is that bottom of the order we talked about that's had some struggles today. See if they can get something going here. 6, 7, 8, 9 hitters.
And a ground ball foul. Han Sung Hyuk, 31 years of age, but just 16 KBO outings. Former 4th overall pick of the Giants of the KBO back in 2016. An 8.18 career ERA. So there is an opportunity to score some runs against this right-hander. 1-2. And a ground ball pulled to second. It'll score a run. RBI ground out for Alex Hall. Wingrove is home. Daryl George to third. 5-3 here in the 8th.
Yep, that'll work. As you said, you don't need the big blast. It would be nice, but you've got to run across. Got George down to third. An opportunity now for Logan Wade.
Wade 0 for 3 in the game. And not trying to do too much. Alex Hall with his first RBI of the showdown. And Melbourne snaps the run of 5 consecutive runs scored by Hanwha. 5-3 here in the 8th inning. Runner at third, 1 out, 1 run in. And a pop-up behind the plate, coming back towards us.
Cool.
And it lands on the netting. That rolls back down. New catcher Chung and
trying to get around the umpire there.
Ryan Harder.
A little bit of a dance.
Doing a little 2-step.
Yeah, exactly.
5-3 here in the 8th inning. Daryl George chatting with Shane Watson over there at third base. Another guy who was very generous with his time when we chatted with him.
Super guy.
Back in round 3. 0-1. Strike number 2.
Does it seem that long ago? It kind of doesn't in a weird
No,
way.
it doesn't.
He was very good with his time, gave us the rundown on the team, some of the struggles he'd had, some of the things he liked. Very open, honest discussion. Great to chat with him.
2 strikes, 1 out, runner at third. 0-2. And a good take there from Logan Wade. Logan Wade, a Brisbane Bandit, playing under Shane Watson, third base coach for the Aussies. And the pitch.
Good
A
eye.
little bit high, boy. That was close.
Good eye.
2-ball, 2-strike count. RBI ground out from Alex Hall after a single from Wingrove and a double from Darryl George. And that was a little bit high. Count even now 2-2. And a cold third strike.
Oh.
Fastball on the outside corner from Hong Song Hyuk.
Wow.
Logan Wade down looking. 2 down in the 8th. And I'm not so sure. That looked
tough.
Tough
a little bit outside. So, big out for Hong Song Hyuk. And here now is Ulrich Bojarski. See if he can tie this game with 1 swing. First pitch. Fastball right down the pipe, strike 1.
He almost did earlier with that, not tie it, but almost cleared the fence with that hard shot down the left field line that just drifted foul. So we know he's got the power.
0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts this afternoon. 0-1. Strike 2 on the outside corner. Again, if you're Australia, you don't need a game-tying home run, but after having 2 in scoring position with nobody out, anything less than 2 just feels like it's not enough in this 8th inning. 0-2. And he lays off a breaking ball. Hong is ready. And a swing and a miss. Good fastball. Bojarski down on strikes for the 3rd time. Back-to-back strikeouts for Hong. And that concludes the top of the 8th. So, 1 run scores on 2 hits. And 1 runner left on base. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. And it is 5-3. Team Australia trailing. But, and we'll keep it right here, what an event this has been. What a weekend it's been, not just for Australia, not just for Hanwha, not just for baseball in Victoria, but also the Melbourne Aces for putting on this event and for what we've seen here at the ballpark all weekend long.
Yeah, it's been spectacular. Melbourne Victorian government obviously coming to the party here, and we're getting a look at some of the highlights here, Michael, of the game.
It's been another well-played game by both teams.
There's Ro Shi-Huan, the superstar.
Some very nice defensive plays this weekend. Yeah, Darryl George made that look easy.
It's a beauty.
That was the base hit that got through the legs of Lee back in the 3rd inning, a 2-run single from Darryl George off Ricardo Sanchez. So Australia had a 2-0 lead. Sam Holland was very good. This was a tough luck base hit that he gave up. A pinballing single off of his leg over to Darryl George playing in at 3rd. And that was only one of 2 base runners that Holland allowed. Warwick Southpole struggled, and it was this home run that tied the game. At the bottom of the 4th, made it 2-2, and that off the bat of
Kim Min Won.
Yeah, who played a lot this weekend.
Our man Kim.
Played all of yesterday. And now some of the sights around the ballpark. Maverick, the Aces dancers, of course, Maverick, the Aces mascot. And doing their show for the Australian and Hanwha fans. And now we're ready here for the bottom of the 8th inning. And there he is, Todd Van Steensel. Perhaps
closer.
the most, unmistakable Australian on the roster. You know exactly when Van Steensel comes in.
Well, that beard, that outfit.
Got the shorts. They aren't really baseball pants. That very laborious delivery. Strike one dealt on the outside corner. So Van Steensel takes over for McGraw, who gave up 1 run in an inning and 2/3. No walks with a couple of strikeouts for the former Melbourne Ace and now Adelaide Giant. And here is Adelaide's closer for the last couple of years, Todd Van Steensel. So back-to-back Claxton Shields won by this Australian right-hander. One pitch. And he went around, according to home plate umpire Ryan Harder. Zhang In-wan standing in to begin this bottom of the 8th with Hanwha up by a couple. Here's the 1-2. Back foot breaking ball, nearly hit him, but skips in. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Funny watching, for someone who's watched Van Steensel for a long time, to see him in a non-save situation is very strange. Just kind of out here, for getting a little bit of a run, but normally he's in a high-pressure, tense environment.
Two. Broken bat looper into shallow right, and that dunks down in front of Kennelly. So, Jean In-wan with a leadoff single in the bottom of the 8th inning. Work for Todd Van Steensel to do.
Look, if you look at the scorecard, Michael, Moon comes in, double. Ha comes in, single. And then Jean In-wan comes in and goes single.
Yep.
That's impressive.
So you now have the 3-hole 3 for 4 with 3 doubles, 3 runs scored. The cleanup spot, 3 for 4, 3 singles, 2 RBIs. And the 6th spot, 4 for 4 with a solo home run. It's just ridiculous. First offering low to Chang Koo-hyun. It was 0 for 1 check that has walked in his only plate appearance. Big number from the left side, number 96. It's a hockey number,
they love a
number on a defensive line. 1-0. High chopper. Who's going to grab it? Fielded by Wade for 1 and on to first. Crafty. 6-3 double play. Van Steensel always appreciative of that, and that's a very smooth play from Logan Wade at short.
Yeah, it's a great play from Logan. Get a look at that here. There's Van Steensel. That's hit just perfectly, right? Sits on the bag, 1 out, throws to Wingrove, 2 outs.
So here is Hwang Young-muk. RBI ground out in the game. 5-3 Hanwha, 2 outs, nobody on, bottom 8. And this time, Logan Wade can't get there. So a broken bat single from Jean In-wan, and now a 2-out seeing eye single from Hwang Young-muk. And the inning continues for Park Sung-un. That's 14 hits now for Hanwha, but not to make excuses, it doesn't really feel like we've seen a ton of really hard contact.
No,
They've just
agreed.
found their spots.
Yeah.
Of course, very good team at putting the ball in play to begin with, but that's where they've had their success this afternoon. 2 down with a man at first. Park Sung-un 0 for 1 with a strikeout. And he takes low. Ball 1 from Van Steensel. Long long Australian career for Van Steensel, the 33-year-old Sydney native. He's pitched in the 2017 and 2023 World Baseball Classics. He's also represented Australia for the MLB opening series back in 2013 and 2014. 2 different stints in the Minnesota Twins organization. And he's also pitched in the Dutch National League, the American Association, the Atlantic League, in Mexico, and with a long ABL career, like I mentioned earlier in the inning. Last couple of years, he's been the closer for the champion Adelaide Giants. Also has a side business as an artist, as we learned when Adelaide went to Perth, second round of the ABL season, and Perth didn't have a stream. So Todd Van Steensel drew the scenes like he was almost a courtroom or something like that.
Sketch artist. Great. Yeah, very interesting guy. Great to have him around. Maybe not when you're coming on to close against you, but
no,
great guy to have in the league.
One and two with 2 outs, 5-3 here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Van Steensel is ready. And a ground ball over to Wade. Backhand pick, off balance throw. That's an outstanding play.
Great play.
6-4 on the inning-ending fielder's choice. And Logan Wade responsible for all 3 outs in that scoreless 8th inning. And some very nice defensive work at that. So we go to the 9th, 5-3. Hanwha on top, and the Eagles are 3 outs away from taking both games. This international showdown, and one more look on the off-balance throw there from Wade. They get the lead man and get the final out of the inning.
That is Phillip Island, one of Victoria's favorite coastal holiday playgrounds. It's a natural wonderland packed with native wildlife. You got rugged coastal trails, you got surf breaks, sandy beaches, and of course those penguins that come out at night. Little penguins make their nightly march up the beach. Spectacular place, absolutely beautiful views, great getaway, a couple hours from Melbourne. Of course, they've got the MotoGP race down there as well at Phillip Island. Great part of the world, like so many of these places we've been showing you around Melbourne. And thanks, of course, to the Victorian government for their big help in putting this event on.
Well, 18 innings, 18 pitchers for Hanwha, another new one. And this time it's Chu Hung Sung, the 31-year-old, his 4th year with Hanwha, coming off a career year, 55 appearances last season with a 1.96 ERA, just a .84 whip. In fact, just 1 run allowed over his final 20 appearances last year, and a 7th-round pick of Hanwha in 2015. It's been used a lot in the last 3 seasons, 147 appearances, 165 and 1/3 innings. A guy who was a position player early in his professional career, but has since become a pitcher. Struggled a couple of years back, but was, again, very good last year, one of the best relievers in the KBO, and we're seeing him try and shut the door on Australia and clinch both games of this international showdown for the Hanwha Eagles. And a pinch hitter, it's Jake Bowie, who takes over for Jordan McCardle. First pitch, and a fastball high to the left-handed hitting Bowie. Where's the number 32? And a Perth native, 10-year member of the Perth Heat. 1-0 pitch. And it's high ball, too. So McCardle finishes 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. Bowie with 37 games played in each of the last 2 years with the Heat. And he also pitched for Perth this past year. Sub-2 ERA in 14 innings. 2-0. Called strike number 1.
Look, we saw Park close very well yesterday for Hanwha, so interesting to see what Chu Hyung Sung can do here in this second game.
2-1. Fouled back 2-2. Well, Bowie, we talked about a few of these Perth Heat members who came oh so close once again to the ABL title. He went on the record before that championship series against Adelaide saying, "This is my World Series." And it's been just brutal for him and Perth, having lost 4 consecutive ABL championship series. Of course, 4 straight that they have played in, not 4 straight overall. 2-2. Out to left field. And Moon, with that glare off the glasses, makes the catch. Bowie retired. And that pinch hit plate appearance. Australia down to its final 2 outs, and here comes Jared Dale.
Next to bat 14, Australia, Jared Dale.
He's got to get a base runner on here. Down 2, put a little pressure on.
Yep, you do need 1 runner.
Yep.
Two outs left for Team Australia. First pitch high for ball 1. Tim Kennelly looming on deck, so you've got some big bats coming through if you can get the tying run to the plate. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Inside 2-0. Jared Dale with a couple of hits in this 2-game showdown. And plenty of hits for the Melbourne Aces at Melbourne Ballpark this past year, coming off a career year. And soon to be back on his way to the USA in the Padres minor league system. Got the Triple H the last 2 years. 2-1 now to count with 1 out, nobody on base. 5-3 in the top of the 9th inning.
Like you said, Michael, just need to get somebody on, walk, hit, error, however you do it. Get hit by a pitch. Any other ways? I don't know. Trying to think of them.
Catcher's interference?
Yeah, catcher interference. We've seen that this year.
2-1. Fouled back. Dale singled in the 7th. And a base hit in last night's game as well. Two outs left for Australia to play with. Here's the 2-2. Fastball high, and there's ball 3 to Jared Dale. Again, it doesn't matter how you get the runner on. You just need 1 to set the table for guys like Tim Kennelly, Aaron Whitefield, perhaps Rickson Wingrove following after that. We'll count 1 out. Chu is ready. And the pitch. High ball 4, and there's the base runner you needed. So Jared Dale walks. And now Tim Kennelly, the all-time ABL home run king with 62 of those, including 12 in this ballpark. He steps to the plate as the tying run in a 5-3 game. After some command issues yesterday, that is the 5th walk allowed by the Hanwha staff today. Still 2 outs to get. And the tying run at the plate. First pitch. And called the strike up with the zone, 0-1. 14-7 hit tally for Hanwha, but again, it hasn't really felt that lopsided with the contact quality. I don't want to make excuses, but kind of surprising to look up there and see 14 hits. 0-1.
It's
another number 2.
Great pitch.
Kennelly in this game 0 for 3 with a walk and a run scored. A strikeout looking in the 7th. Part-time member of the Perth Heat and a full-time firefighter.
That's a great pitch.
Snaps in there. 2 strikes, 1 out, middle infield, trying to turn 2. 0-2. Swing and a miss. Got him with an elevated fastball. TK down on strikes for the 2nd time this afternoon. 12 strikeouts for the Australian lineup, 1 through 9. And now for the second consecutive night comes down to Aaron Whitefield. Whitey struck out to end yesterday's game. Trying to keep the Australian hopes alive to perhaps split or at the very least get a result in this second game. Again, we won't play any more than 9 innings.
Tie? You're saying we could get a
could.
tie?
Possible. Whitefield with 3 career home runs at this ballpark. Feels kind of weird to say get a result, but that's the reality.
It does, doesn't it?
One 0 pitch. Swing and a miss. Whitefield 1 for 4 with a run scored this afternoon. Ju Hung Sung coming off a career year and trying to pick up a save in this exhibition game against Team Australia. Ground ball pulled over to third and past the outstretched glove of Ha. That's a single for Whitefield. And now the tying run at first. Go-ahead run steps to the plate. Here is Rickson Wingrove.
Here we go. It's the man you want up, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
3 for 3 with a walk. Easily the hottest hitter in these 2 games. He's got power as well.
And Aaron Whitefield with outstanding speed representing the tying run at first. So if Wingrove can find the gap or poke something down the line and Whitefield off and running at first, he could very well tie this game up. 2 outs with 2 on. First pitch. And that drops low and outside for ball 1. And also, too, I think if you asked the Australians right now if you'd rather have a power-hitting lefty as opposed to a righty, in a situation like this, you take the lefty because of the way the wind's been blowing this afternoon and how we've seen balls carry out to right as opposed to left. 1-0 pitch.
Good
That's
eye.
outside 2-0. A hitter's count here for Wingrove.
I think he's going to be very careful with Rickson.
Still feels like the Australian fans are hoping for somebody to come through with something they can really cheer about. 2-0. Swing and a miss, and once again, Wingrove was trying to do exactly that.
Big cut. Big cut.
2 on, 2 out, tying run at first, go ahead run at the plate. And now the 2-1. Popped him up. And this will get out of play, third base side. Wingrove lives to see another pitch. 2 balls, 2 strikes. But Australia down to its final strike here this afternoon.
Somebody got themselves a souvenir. That's a KBO baseball, by the way, using the Korean League's baseball. So that's a nice little souvenir. Plenty of ABL balls here over the years, but not too many KBO balls. Big pitch here, Michael.
2-2. And Ju lets fly. Just outside, ball 3.
Sure they couldn't have called that to end the series. No, can't give them that.
Well, now the runners take off. Full count, 2 outs. You've got great speed at first. So Wingrove would almost certainly tie this game with anything into the gaps or down the line. Dale at second. Whitefield at first. Ju is ready. Wingrove trying to come through. The payoff pitch, and instead, it is Ju stepping off to give himself an extra second or 2.
Just to add some drama to this.
Another thing you haven't seen much of, Hanwha stepping up because
No.
they have to be mindful of the new rules with disengagements. Only 2
Yeah, right.
per plate appearance. Full count, 2 outs. Runners take off with the pitch home. And here it comes. Fly ball foul, first base side. And Wingrove gets another chance. Big Sunday crowd, much bigger than your typical ABL Sunday crowd. And what a weekend it's been. 2,345 in the ballpark yesterday. Not quite that today, but still a pretty full and festive Melbourne Ballpark for a 2-game international showdown that all these fans have been looking forward to for quite some time. See if Rickson Wingrove can, at the last second, give Australia fans something to cheer about. 3-2. Here's the payout pitch. Inside ball 4, gets to the backstop, and it rolls up the netting. So Jared Dale will have to go back to third, Whitefield to second. It's
Nice
a dead
try.
ball, and you're awarded whatever base you were going to take regardless. So
Nice try from Jared. Why not?
now the tying run at second, go ahead run at first. Rickson Wingrove has reached all 5 times, and that sets the table once again for Daryl George.
Bases loaded. Coming up to bat. Daryl George.
The all-time ace is great. With an all-time chance here at Melbourne Ballpark playing for the green and gold of Team Australia.
Couldn't be scripted better, could it? Well, let's see what he does first. But what a great piece of drama here in the 9th.
Base hit can tie it. First pitch. Strike 1 with a fastball on the inside corner. George had the bases full in the 7th inning yesterday, had that double play. Deflated everybody. Of course, it's just for fun, a chance to play for Team Australia in front of the home fans, but you know he would love to give them something to go nuts about. 0-1. Here's the pitch. Down the right field line. That is trouble. It's into the corner, and it's a foul ball. Oh, so close to that huge Australian moment for Daryl George. He's got a big smile on his face as he jogs back home. Only a handful of feet away from sending this place into a frenzy. But instead, now Australia once again down to its final strike.
We can watch that again. I was just going to say, let's not forget, this is the top of the 9th inning. So if the Aces would tie it or take the lead, Hanwha would still get an opportunity because they're the home team tonight. But wow, that was something close. And I think we've got a pinch runner here.
That'd
Michael?
be George Khalil.
Yeah, George Khalil. How about that? Young
One of our
Melbourne
favorite
ace.
Melbourne Aces.
Love him. Getting a chance here.
Put a little more speed.
Yep.
Instead of Wingrove, who reached all 5 times. 2 strikes, 2 outs. Comes down to this. Daryl George, the all-time ace is great. Playing for Australia here at Melbourne Ballpark. Trying to come through with a big-time hit in the 9th. The 0-2. Cold strike 3, and Georgie down looking. The Eagles hang on. And they take both games of this international showdown. But with Hanwha out to celebrate a couple of spring training victories, the Australian fans who made the trip from wherever to watch the green and gold play here at home, they applaud the efforts from their team. And there's a look at your final totals. 5-14-0 for Hanwha, 3-8-0 for Australia. And Ed, you just cannot say enough about the event and what we got to see over these last couple of days.
It's been a blast, and, you know, special thanks, obviously, to Team Australia, to the Hanwha Eagles, to the Melbourne Aces organization who put this on, and, of course, the Victorian government and major events, people that have made this possible and helped with the upgrade of this facility, and it just has been a treat, really, to be able to call these games. And you can see there both teams showing their appreciation to the fans, and it has been wonderful turnout for the fans here as well too. Just a special weekend, really. You don't get this very often. And you know, we were jokingly saying, you know, we're not the only celebrities in town with Taylor Swift in town, but these Korean guys are genuine stars. You see people out there stopping them in the hallways for autographs, photos, people lining up to meet their Korean baseball organization heroes. So it has been a wonderful weekend for all concerned. Only negative, and it's not a big one necessarily, is that the Australians couldn't get a win out of it. But we saw some good baseball, and we saw some really great plays from both teams at bat and in the field, and some really superb pitching.
Now, without a lack of opportunities, too. I mean, I felt like it was the same narrative both nights for Australia with some chances late. But again, the guys just having fun with a chance to play in front of the home fans. In Melbourne specifically, for the first time since 2017, Hanwha with that post-game circle, as we saw. And I am not entirely sure who that was who got player of the game, but a couple of
you think it's
accolades. We saw this yesterday. And Hanwha putting a bow on their 3-week stay here in Melbourne for spring training. I believe we will have a post-game interview with Eric Balnar. We'll have to wait and see. But I guess chance here for me to say thanks, Ed. That was a lot of fun. A fun season with the Melbourne Aces. Of course, we got very fortunate to wrap things up with this 2-game exhibition series. Without this, I would have been long gone, right? I mean,
yep.
I probably would have been gone a week or two ago, but because of this, a chance to broadcast it, I ended up staying until, obviously, this, and now we'll leave Thursday, but we'll see what the future holds. I'd love to be back, call some games again in 2024-25. You never really know in this business, but it's been a lot of fun, and I'm sure it was a fun year for you to get back in the booth as well.
Great. Yeah, it was wonderful to be back in, and you're right, Michael, this is a real bonus to be able to do this. Normally it's season's done, you move on and wait till the next season. This was really something special, getting to know some of the Hanwha personnel, the people who, as you mentioned, have been sensational. And it has been great to work with you as well, Michael. I've really, really enjoyed it. It's been a fun year and a really interesting year in terms of the baseball. We saw some really unique plays throughout the season, and the chance to call this is a real treat, that's for sure. Next time, let's do it in Korea. Let's call a game over there. That's where I want to go.
Or Italy. I'll be working on that for you and me.
Florence.
Go to Florence. Also, can't say enough about the hospitality that Hanwha treated all of us with. I mean, you have no idea. You've got some big guys coming in from the KBO, and they have expectations, but I think their expectations were met, and they were so very gracious with their time and all of the resources they had for us, and getting us prepared to broadcast a couple of spring training games for a KBO team that we're not familiar with. Much, much, much easier said than done. And, whoever it was, top to bottom, whether it was the players, the staff members, some of the coaches were very helpful. Some of the stat video analysts were very helpful. You cannot say enough about the work that those folks did for us. Here's some of the highlights from today's game. And it was a second inning for Australia in which they had an opportunity, couldn't cash in. They had a great outing from Sam Holland.
Yeah, he was great.
Some really nice defensive plays behind him as well. Scoreless through the first 2 innings. And there is one of those aforementioned plays that Daryl George made that got Holland through the second. This, the play from Daryl George with the bases full. Ground ball through the legs. Go ahead and give him a hit.
Yeah, we'll give him
2 RBIs as well. So George comes through with a 2-out, 2-run single. And Australia had a 2-0 lead in the third. The first lead for Australia in this showdown.
That's what it was. Very rare, wasn't it? Here's a look at that again.
And that pinball play off of Holland over towards third. Daryl George very nearly made an outstanding play in the inning. Bottom of the fourth. And Warwick Southpole, the former Hanwha Eagle, out. Gave up the home run to the man who I didn't think would get a break.
Kim In-hwan.
And Kim In-hwan with a 390-foot home run out there to right. Not an easy weekend to hit home runs at this ballpark.
He's surely your player of the game, isn't he?
I think so,
Single
yeah.
and a home run, and also the Iron Man performance yesterday, going 9 innings. I give it to him.
So Southpole gives up the home run, and kind of a tough inning for Southpole to start. Remember that bloop double that began things. And in the bottom of the fifth, one of the 14 hits for Hanwha. A lot of contact. But again, it didn't feel like a ton of really sharp contact.
That was the best contact of all right there on that broken bat.
Shadow of the bat. And this tough play, Harold George. It was really, there's not much he could do. And then the Eagles perhaps a little fortunate, but that's when things got a little interesting in the fifth. Remember, with young Cohen Wynn trying to get through the inning. There's that ground ball once again. Cohen Wynn trying to get through the inning, runners down the corners, nobody out, full count, and a get out of jail free card with the out coming between home and third, and then the next out coming between second and third, just a base running miscue at multiple junctures in that fifth inning, and all of a sudden it looked like Team Australia had regained the momentum.
Yeah, there were some strange plays, I must admit. The pickoff play that came later in the controversial, was he out of the base path?
How about the weekend that Rickson Wingrove had? 5 times to the plate this afternoon, and he reached all 5 times, 3 singles, a couple of walks. This was that very difficult play for the...
Yeah, Huang made that incredible effort, almost grabbed that.
And at the bottom of the 6th inning, Hanwha came through with a couple of runs. And it started with that leadoff double, followed by the single up the middle, and Hanwha took the lead for good. That made it 3-2. And that was that with the run added in the 6th, 1 of the 7th. There's your scoreboard one last time from Melbourne Ballpark this season. And Hanwha wins it by a final score of 5-3. Any parting words?
Well, no, just other than it's been a blast all year, all season with you. And thanks to the Aces and to Baseball Australia for letting us call this one. Really enjoyed it. And we'll be back again next year for another great season. Whether or not you'll be with us, I certainly hope you will be, and we'll be following your career in Lincoln, that's for sure. I'll be tuning into some of those games to hear how you're going, and I'll also be listening to the Hanwha Eagles. So I got a lot of baseball to be watching other than my beloved Seattle Mariners. Same with you when the Major League Baseball season starts. But it's been great, Michael. Thank you very much, and a special thanks to our Sportscast Australia crew here who've been phenomenal as always.
Yeah, watching those Hanwha Eagles games is going to be a ton of fun with the 2 new fans that they have in Michael Dixon and Ed Wyatt. For Eric Balnar, the rest of our Sportscast Australia crew, my name is Michael Dixon saying so long one final time, and this time it's for good. When we signed off with the Melbourne season, we didn't know if the Aces had one more game. They didn't. So we know for a fact this is it unless something crazy unfolds over the next 48 hours, which we are not expecting. But the visiting Hanwha Eagles and the KBO take both games of this international showdown. They wrap up the first half of their 2024 spring training here in Melbourne with a couple of wins against Team Australia. Until next November, or shall I say until November, and the next season of the ABL 2024-25. My name is Michael Dixon saying so long one last time from Melbourne Ballpark.
This broadcast is powered by Sportscast Australia.